big week announcing their Nintendo Switch release date and pricing, along with a few games that we're pretty excited for. Now, it's been a while since the last time we talked, Mark.
It's been a bit.
Last time it was a big week for our PlayStation.
Yeah, the state
And showing us, giving us a little preview of what they were coming up with and what they had plans for the year. Which, weeks later, they kind of showed off more of their bigger games. Now, I almost feel like this is kind of similar to what we saw with Nintendo's Direct. Now, we'll start by saying that the first big thing they announced was the release date. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about that, Mark?
So it's coming out in June 5th this year, obviously. So the rumors were it was going to come out this year. I think a lot of people are expecting sometime in the fall. Maybe not so much a quick release, like we're talking beginning of the summer, like late spring technically. I know there was some rumors that like June was a little bit of like a marking point of when it would actually release. So the fact that it is coming out pretty freaking soon, and in a state where, at least for I'll say in the world, where you got the tariff situation going on, so it's still a little bit shocking considering that shit's still going down, even though at the moment of recording, most of the tariffs have been paused for everyone. The states have done, except for China. They're the only ones that they have not paused the tariffs, but whatever. Supposedly the Switch 2 is still coming out June 5th. I'm fairly confident it will come out until then. We'll see about the pricing, because the pricing, I think, there's always a chance where shit gets bad, it could change. So right now, they got retailed for US for $449, or let's say $450, because everyone rounds up. Let's get real.
Well, before we get into the pricing, is that because Nintendo doesn't really follow the regular release date calendar that PlayStation and Microsoft do with either it's fall or
Usually fall, yeah.
I mean, I know the Switch was released like Q1. I think it was like 2017, something like March.
It was 2017, March maybe. Yeah.
Now this seems like a pretty unique release date. We don't have to get too much into it, but is there anything that they're targeting with this release date? I know summer's coming up, which again, it's probably the low time new game. Like I'm not thinking of buying any new games or anything like that. I'm thinking about playing sports. Going on vacation, things like that.
Yeah, why are they releasing it like this early in the year, especially like early summer? I don't know what they're thinking in that regard. Maybe they're thinking if they release this later on in fall, could be the GTA 6 effect, where like they don't want to even deal with that noise if GTA 6 still is going to release in the fall. Because you have that release right before it or right around the same time. If it doesn't release on it, let's say day one on the Switch 2, that might actually be a big factor. Because let's get real, that's the one game where like literally that can change the landscape for like 99% of developers, publishers, whoever, anyone in the gaming industry. Why they picked June, I don't know. I really don't. I think maybe because it's a little bit of a lull time, so it's like, okay, there isn't a whole lot of big releases around that time, if I'm not mistaken. So like, it might be a good time for it to release. Maybe
the only thing I can think about is like production. So maybe they want to be on their second cycle before Black Friday. But I think it gives them, that's a lot of time for them. Let's say they release it in October with a few games. No one's thinking about what's next until maybe March or so. But the fact that they have to survive a fall with maybe not, we'll talk about it, but maybe not much coming out. I thought it was
got
pretty
some surprises out there.
Unless they got some surprises. That's why.
Like, here's the thing. Well, I mean, we could talk about the games and stuff later, but I'll just say this right now. Like, Metroid Prime 4, we still don't have a release date, other than that it's coming out in 2025.
It has to be this year, yeah.
I'm assuming that's going to be a fall game. Maybe there is going to be a big Mario release in fall too that no one knows about, or some kind of Zelda release. I don't know. You thought they would announce it by now. Who the hell knows? Maybe they got something up our sleeves.
Well, let's hope. You know what? I was wrong with PlayStation when they didn't show Death Stranding and I guess Marathon, but there's another game they didn't show. Oh, Ghost of Yote.
Yeah.
And it seems like it just took them a few weeks to kind of confirm those games are coming out and show off those games. So maybe it's kind of the same similar cycle. We'll see. Nothing intentional. It seems like maybe it's just
unless you're trying to think where it's like, oh, they're trying to maximize sales that they can get around Christmas or like holiday time. Because think about like this. You have the Switch 2 come out. Maybe it's out in the wild, so a lot of families, some certain families have it. So other families, kids are being like, oh, I want this for Christmas kind of deal. So they're expecting, oh, we got the word of mouth out there now. The Switch 2 is out. People are liking what they see. And so they're expecting a huge like jump up in terms of sales sold around holidays. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
But at that point, you have to give us a reason to buy the game. Day one, you'll have a lot of people just buying that game because it's a new console. But
Which will
by
be me.
by the fall, it'll be like, what? Why would I buy this? You have to question yourself. But
Sure.
Another reason people would question why to buy it, as you kind of talked about, is the price. Now, I was a little surprised by the price just because Nintendo doesn't really go that route. But can you tell us a little more about what they announced?
So for the pricing, the MSRP for US is going to be $450 for the console itself, and obviously it comes like the deck, all the little accessories, or little controller. And they got the same situation with the Joy-Cons that they did for the original release of the Switch 1, where they have the little controller, but it's like what you just slot your Joy-Cons into. Same deal with that. But they also have the release bundle that has Mario Kart World, the premier launch game, and we'll talk about why that's a premier launch game later on in terms of pricing. But that'll be $500 on the dot. So in terms of pricing, you're surprised because you thought it was going to be more, essentially, correct?
Well,
Or maybe around like a little bit more than that. Around
no,
that ballpark?
I they usually are cheaper than
Sure.
all their competitors, and
That is true.
the fact that I don't know, they're really. I was expecting their pricing and their release to push PlayStation, probably just PlayStation, for a price drop. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be even. We're even close to.
I don't
that
think it
kind of
would have been
situation.
feasible for what you have the spec wise in the Switch 2. I just don't think they would have been able to release that thing at 400 US.
Well, how about we talk about?
They would have taken too much of a hit on that.
Yeah.
Like,
So, what are they giving you spec wise, and maybe we'll compare it to what other things on the market.
So spec wise, like we're not going to get into the huge technical details of it because like we're not the techie guys. Like I can tell you how many gigaflops this fucking like their GPU has, for example. 99% of you guys won't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to teraflops, all that fucking bullshit. Who knows? So basically everything we've seen about it, and because it's already been like what, a full like week, if not like 2 weeks since people have had their hands on it. I know there's been some events where I think just yesterday in LA or like New York or some shit where people, the public, actually had hands-on access to the Switch 2. Basically what people are saying is that it's going to be equivalent to like a PS4, maybe PS4 Pro. And I've heard some cases of like Series S in terms of tech, which if you've been following any leaks of like how it's been, because like truthfully, like the specs have been leaked out for like, I feel like not only this year, but a little bit late last year. Because like usually you got shit mass production, the Chinese factories and all that. Shit's going to get leaked out there. So like people had a rough idea how it's going to do performance-wise, like spec-wise. So it seems like, hey, if it's like a PS4 Pro Series, Xbox Series S equivalent, I think that's plenty enough power for it to compete with and look almost as good. Obviously not quite as good as like PS5 or definitely PS5 Pro games. But it's going to be in that same competition where it's not going to be like last generation where you had the Switch release at launch. Then what? A few years later, you had a PS5, Xbox Series X, and like the jump was like way bigger where it's like, oh, Switch games just look so much fucking inferior to like any like current gen release at that point. So it didn't make much sense to buy the Switch release unless, hey, Switch is the only console you had, or you really just like that aspect of being able to play wherever you wanted. So I know there's always the meme of like the stinky Switch game releases where you are getting an inferior release if you get it on a Switch compared to like PS5. Now it seems like that point is a lot smaller. The gap is way smaller and it's a lot closer. So I don't know, spec wise, it's exactly what I expected it to be. I'm not amazed by it, but I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what it needs to be to compete with the current gen consoles from a tech point.
I don't even think it's to compete. I think it's to
No, not so much compete, but
to have third party developers make games on your console without working too hard.
Absolutely,
But,
yeah, for sure, which is huge. That's a great point.
So they talked a lot about like the resolution and whatnot.
Yeah,
4K support off the TV. Have they talked? Is there a big difference between the actual tablet, between the OLED Switch and the new one?
so in terms of like how it is, it's basically the same situation as Switch 1, where like you're playing a tablet form, it's not going to be as powerful and look as good in terms of from a resolution point of view as you do docks. Because when you have it docked, you have the fans, and supposedly the cooling is like way better on the Switch 2 dock than it was on the Switch 1 dock. So it's technically able to, let's say, overclock in the situation to where Nintendo says expect 4K 60 FPS docked and expect at a maximum of 1080p 120 frames docked on the tablet, and that's actually big. I want to point out that they actually put out their 120 FPS. This is Nintendo we're talking about. Usually they don't really give a shit and put out these big like numbers when it comes to like, oh, this game does 4K or whatever. Usually they like to let their games like gameplay do the talking for them.
For sure.
So the fact that they're putting emphasis like, hey, you can do 1080, 120 FPS. Metroid Prime 4 is one of those games you can play docked at 1080, 120 FPS. That's pretty freaking cool. Now let's see how it actually looks and it's running once we get our hands on it. Maybe the visual downgrade is going to be that much more to like basically do this like new performance mode kind of deal. We'll see. Now you mentioned OLED screen. I'm glad you did. So that's a big thing to notice is that the Switch 2 does not have an OLED screen. A lot of people were hoping for it. Let's get real. If you were hoping for an OLED screen, guess what? Your hopes are going to be saved. Want to know why? Because 2 years from now, what are they going to do? Release the OLED version. Let's get real. Nintendo always does this. They always have multiple different iterations for, especially when we're talking like the hybrid or like DS.
But I do think this is a little different though, because it's not. You're going way back. Like that's one of the main. Like throughout their development of the Switch, and like I guess they had 2 or 3. They had the Lite and the OLED.
Yes.
The one thing you think they would keep as like a basis is the screen itself. So I think it's a little different than, let's say, what they did in the past. Like, again, so. I am a little annoyed.
This is typical Nintendo where it's like, hey, we could release it at launch the OLED screen, but like we could just do what we've always done in the past, and we know we're going to release another model a year, 2 years from now. It's going to have the OLED screen. It's going to be the same price as it was at launch, but that launch unit's going to be cheaper. We're going to be able to double dip out of people that really want to get the OLED screen. I don't know. It's nothing different.
Last time I remember this happening, unless you remember a more recent time, was Xbox with the Xbox One with the Kinect, where everyone knew they were going to eventually release a cheaper model.
I don't know if everyone expected that right away from the Xbox.
Well, because the Kinect wasn't going to succeed. So, you're going to have...
Because I remember when the Xbox One first got announced, they were so up their own asses, like Microsoft themselves, and being insistent that, no, this is always online. The Kinect is a centerpiece. It's a baseline for the system. You need to have Kinect to have Xbox. Remember that messaging in the past? They were so hard on it. Now, it didn't take them that long to be like, oh no, you don't need the Kinect. I think it only took like a few months after they, not even launched, but like
1E3, I think.
I don't even know. It might have been less than that. It did not take long for them to course correct at that point. I don't know. It just seems like the typical like Nintendo thing to basically, hey, if we're gonna get double dipping customers in on this, they're gonna buy the OLED screen. But another reason why maybe they didn't do the OLED at launch, though, which a lot of people are talking about, is that like, let's face it, you have the OLED screen in that. Now the price is going to be even higher. And because what we have at the price now, I think this is the utmost you can charge for the Switch 2 before people are like, oh no, I'm way better off getting like a PS5, for example. Why the fuck do I want to get a Switch 2? It's more than $500. And we're talking like American price points. Us Canadians, we're paying, I think it's like what, $620 for the console. And then the Mario Kart bundle, I think, is like $680. So like us Canadians, we're getting shit on hard. So like it sucks for us. But
I think they're underestimating the competition that the Switch 1 still brings, because so
it's a cheaper option still by far, and they've already
and
they already came out and did the Microsoft thing and be like, hey, if you don't want to get the Switch 2, we always have the cheaper Switch 1 option, which a lot of people are memeing about, which is funny.
Well, I think it's just me personally. I haven't had a Switch for a while. If I want to play. So I'm kind of 2 Marios behind, 1 Zelda behind.
Yeah.
They're really enticing me to buy Switch 1 once the price drops now, the OLED.
Sure.
And that's maybe we'll talk about that a little later when we talk about our predictions with everything. But I just think they're underestimating that competition and looking more at...
But they could also be seeing it like someone like your case scenario. Now, I know you're like, I might as well just get the Switch, get back up on everything, but like maybe they're looking at a lot of people being like, oh, I still don't have a Switch, but now I can get a Switch 2. Sure, it's gonna be more expensive, but it's gonna be this much more of a powerful device where, hey, those games you mentioned before, like Mario, you said you're a couple behind. The Odyssey you can play at a better resolution, better frames, and a better version if you get the Switch 2
version. For $10 more. Because I don't think
we'll talk about that in a bit.
Well, probably the other games won't. I'm thinking like the
Odyssey's different, but
Odyssey
we'll get into that. We'll get into
that. But the original Switch Odyssey won't drop price. What I'm trying to get at, Like,
Oh
it's
yeah, this is
like there's
Nintendo.
like sure
This
I'm
is
saving money
classic
on the
Nintendo.
console, but the game is so full price. So that's one
Sure.
thing they're
But that's always been a Nintendo thing. We know their first party games don't ever go down in price. The sales are very limited every year. This has been a thing since what, the N64, as far as I know as a kid. This is nothing new for Nintendo. Is it shitty? Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. But should you be shocked that Nintendo's doing anything different? No, I don't think so.
okay. Well, maybe this is a good way to get into the software if that's something that you're interested to walk through next. But
There's still some hardware stuff.
okay, so we'll talk about the hardware.
We'll go through this quickly. So, the one thing I do want to talk about, and this actually just got recently confirmed. This is why I'm actually glad we're doing this a little bit after. This is an instant reaction because there was a lot of confusion, a lot of news pieces that went out of there where it's like, oh, games are this price, whatever. We'll get into that, but Nintendo has confirmed that this Switch 2 will have DLSS upscaling as well as ray tracing support. So this is something good for developers because now you don't have to go out of your way and develop a completely different version for the Switch 2 platform like you had to for the Switch 1 version. So development should be better in terms of performance. Everything should be better. I have my qualms about DLSS and ray tracing. I'm not the biggest fans of it, but whatever. We'll brush that aside. So you're talking about the OLED screen. So there's no OLED screen, but everything I've heard that the screen does have HDR now, and supposedly the screens look pretty good. And it's a bigger
big
screen.
point. That's a big factor.
Like a lot of people are saying, oh, the screen actually looks good, and supposedly it's comparable to OLED. Obviously, OLED's a better panel technology, but there is that. Big thing I do want to talk about is the Joy-Con stuff. So there's an extra button on the Joy-Con, Hassan. It's called the C button. What do you think that C button does?
Probably just about everything, in a way.
What if I were to tell you that it's specifically reserved for game chat? It's basically your Discord button where you press this button and you can basically broadcast out to your friends, have them like, let's say on the bottom fifth of your screen, you can see what your buddies are playing and stuff. You can see their video cams, all that stuff. If you got the Nintendo cameras support, of course. And you can basically be chatting with your friends. It's basically like the Nintendo version of Discord, but you have it on the Switch too.
I mean, it's about time, but I will say, like, I mean, we'll talk about it, but it seems like it's a generation behind.
Sure.
Along with a lot, like, not in the sense of
they
shouldn't do it,
but for some of the stuff that they should have had before.
It's questionable that it's a highlighted aspect.
I just find it funny that so the game chat feature is for everyone available. You don't need Nintendo Switch Online to pay for right away until I think it's like next March. I want to think it is or something like that, or next May. So then you have to buy Nintendo Switch Online to be able to use this feature, a core feature in the console, to basically be able to use a button on the console.
You can't bind it to another button. Like they've never. It's pretty much like the PlayStation 4's gamepad button, in a way where.
But at least you don't have to pay to use that button.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like
it is funny.
I feel like they might have to backpedal on some things like that because, I mean, we'll save it till the end. But these prices that we're mentioning, to me, are not the most important price, and it's more of the services that they're kind of forcing people into. But we will talk about that.
They're going big on the services, but that's a way of the times, unfortunately. The only other things I want to go briefly over, Joy-Con specifically, so you have that extra button. They are bigger Joy-Cons than the original ones of the Switch, because the Switch 2 is a bigger screen. I think it's about, 7.8 now? It's like, whatever, it's a couple of inches like bigger or something like that. So it is a bigger screen. Joy-Cons are bigger, but the craziest thing about it, which was shown in the little teaser beforehand, is you can use the Joy-Con as a mouse now. Turn on sideways, use as a mouse.
Now, do you mean as a mouse to scroll through the menus, or will games actually use this?
Well, they've actually shown games using it. A big thing they showed was Metroid Prime 4. Hey, you can use that to aim with, which is fantastic. So it's like, for us PC FPS users like myself, I fucking love that. Now I can play Metroid Prime 4, which I had no problems with using the regular controls. I grew up playing Metroid Prime on the GameCube originally. Don't get it twisted. But hey, you give me the option to use basically a mouse to aim with. I'm loving life. Because when it comes to FPSs, I want to use the mouse and keyboard, baby. I don't want to fucking use a controller.
But here's the thing. Maybe not keyboard, but you could argue that the Wii version or the Wii Metroid Prime did have mouse controls because it actually had pretty accurate motion controls.
Well, that was like the Wiimote aim. It's not quite
But
because here's the thing, it's not quite mouse controls, but it is another like it's another better method in terms of precision. Like the gyro.
well, they marketed it that way, kind
exactly.
of like
But here's the thing, playing like that was like fantastic.
No, they did a good job with
Oh,
that. That's what I'm saying. So like, it's
absolutely
actually
good.
like,
and I'm pretty sure Metroid Prime 4 also had support for gyro aiming too. So you still have the option. You actually, the fact that you have multiple options to play this game is fantastic. Well, let's get into it later. But hey, Joy-Con mouse, that looks pretty sick. Never expected Nintendo to do that. I'll be shocked if they actually let you use a plug-in USB mouse and be able to use that with the console.
I mean, if they
I don't expect it, but if you do that, Nintendo,
But if they could sell a $100 mouse, proprietary mouse on their Nintendo network, maybe they will. You never know.
Hey, you know what? If it's easy money for them, let them do it.
Yeah, they might do it. You know,
I'm fully for that, because if you're that dumb enough to pay $100 for a mouse like that, a Nintendo mouse, I'm sorry, you kind of deserve to be spending that money.
Hey, correct.
Or you can just get a decent $20 Logitech mouse, use that, and you're good enough, baby. And it'll be fine. You won't notice a difference unless you're very autistic like myself, and you need to have a very good mouse, and you will pay that $100 for a legit good one. But I'm a different case.
Yeah, I don't even know what a good mouse is.
Don't get me started about mice. Don't get me started about keyboards. Okay, and then the only other thing I want to mention about the Joy-Cons, the analog sticks. I don't know if you know too much about this.
I don't know.
So you know what stick drift is, right?
Yep.
It's been prevalent in everyone's controllers since the last gen. So that included the Joy-Cons. Most importantly, that's been the biggest issue. But like, I got DualSense. I've had stick drift with. My Xbox Series X controller has not gotten stick drift, but I've seen plenty of reports. So a big thing is that the Joy-Cons are not using the Hall effect analog sticks, which basically, I won't get into the technology aspect, but basically technology-wise, it's impossible or like very, very hard to get stick drift. It's basically superior analog technology that previous generations are using before. Now for these generations, they're using a shittier, cheaper technology for whatever reason. The only thing Nintendo says that it's not Hall effect, but they've supposedly fixed the stick drift issues with the Joy-Cons. I won't believe it until I actually see it and experience it with it. Because I've had 2 separate sets of Joy-Cons actually get stick drift, so I'm hoping that's not the case. But
it all sounds great, but it means nothing unless people support these things. And that starts with Nintendo supporting it. So we'll see with like the mouse controls and the Joy-Con stuff, even the chat button and developing that, making it worth your money.
Absolutely.
We'll see. We'll see if Nintendo can push these things. It almost reminds me of, I mean, I think I mentioned it before, the Connect and the Move, where like they showed that they had the technology, but it doesn't matter unless people are supporting it. If you're not supporting it.
But I will say, at least for this, like, at least for the Joy-Con mouse stuff, it seems like it's an optional kind of thing. It's like, hey, you can use a mouse. That's fantastic. It's not like it's a permanent requirement that you need to implement in your games. Not like the gamepad from the Wii U scenario. Or even Wiimote for the Wii games.
But I mean, if they're showing it off.
So, like, even if not every game supports mouse controls, which I don't expect every game to support mouse controls. It's got fucking real. Yeah. But, like, if I'm playing a first-person shooter, so, like, Metroid Prime supports that, that's amazing. And then, let's say, hey, future CODs, they haven't announced any CODs on the Switch 2, but why wouldn't the COD support that Joy-Con mouse support? That might be a situation where, like, hey, people might just get a Switch 2 or get COD on the Switch 2 because it's like, hey, I have that option. I can play it on the go. I can play mouse and keyboard when I'm back at home with it. Why not? So, I think that's pretty much it for the tech stuff. So, basically, we got ourselves a much beefier Switch 1 that seems to be competing hardware-wise with the current gen consoles. So, the versions that you get on the Switch 2 basically won't be nearly as bad as how it was with the Switch 1, which is great. So it means that, hey, if you only got a Switch 2 and you don't have a PS5 or Xbox Series X, you're not getting that much of an inferior experience. In theory right now. We'll wait and see until the games actually get released and see how these ports are going to be.
And, like, on the real with Nintendo, it's never mattered. Like, they've had the GameCube, which looked great, especially compared to the PlayStation, and it was
better hardware-wise than the PlayStation 2.
So it's actually never mattered. It's only if they actually care about. It's almost like they actually have to believe in it personally.
Sure.
And maybe this is a sign that Nintendo is finally believing in.
Especially price point, because it is the most expensive launch console that they've done. In terms of basic MSRP, it is the most expensive, $450.
And again, we'll talk
minus
about
inflation, all that.
But that's not even the price I'm afraid of or wary of.
Sure.
And But yeah, I think, is there anything else you want to talk about hardware
Yeah,
wise?
hardware wise, I think we're all pretty much good there. If there's anything I'm forgetting, it is what it is. But like, oh, actually, one thing about the Joy Cons, you have the headphone support now. You can plug your headphones in your controller.
There you go. Oh, I
That should be a
yeah,
necessary feature. Should have been there
yeah.
like 10 years ago. But
One thing I'd like to point out that's kind of annoying, and we kind of mentioned how Nintendo sometimes will go backwards, or like with the OLED screen. And one thing that I loved with the Wii U that's still not back, that wasn't back for the Switch,
gamepad.
is using the gamepad as a controller for the TV. And I was actually pretty disappointed. I like the fact not hearing that and them talking about the game chat button and the Joy-Con like it's a main.
I think Nintendo's worried about doing that again because then they're forcing developers to have to develop for that specific feature of using the actual like game console itself as like a tablet second screen. I think they're worried about a Wii U scenario. They want to go way less away from that so that you don't have that issue. That's if I was Nintendo, I think that's a smart way of doing it.
I hope they're not blaming the Wii U for those, because the Wii U was actually a great console. I thought it was more about
I got qualms
the marketing,
for it, but
the third
marketing was
party,
horrible.
the third party support was
but
the
having
big
that
thing.
gamepad where it's like, hey, you want to use this like. I think they kind of were trying to force like third-party developers like have the gamepad in mind to develop games, but that just made it harder for third parties that want to develop games for that. It's like, all right, now we have to have this to them a useless peripheral to design in mind, where it's like it was easier for them. Fuck it, we're not even going to do a Wii U version, and the Wii U was really bad success.
Well, I think simply they kind of
failure.
just got conceited with the success of the Wii, and like again, they just did not work towards getting that third party support.
They
And
had
I
the
think
third
now
party
they're
support at launch, funny enough. And then after that, it was like the third. I think the third parties are like, "Oh, this thing isn't selling."
Are you saying the third
It's gonna
party,
be-
or they had Ubisoft support? So big difference.
They
Maybe
had some
EA,
EA support. They had some Warner Brothers.
but Ubisoft
support.
was the big one pushing their things on there.
I think they had a Call of Duty at launch on there, if I'm not mistaken. I think Black Ops.
And they
one
bought
of them.
Bayonetta. Like that wasn't third party, but
That was like second party, but
still interested in how that worked out for them.
it did not work out.
Yeah,
we
they-
know exactly that.
They're forced to make
And
those
even just
games
naming
still.
the Switch 2 is a big indicator because like a lot of people were hoping for, hey, the Super Switch. That sounds sick. But it's like Nintendo, and I think they've actually talked about it. They're like, we thought about the Super Switch, but we thought maybe name it was that shouldn't be the greatest idea. Let's do Switch 2 so you know exactly what you're getting. Switch 2, oh, it's a successor to the Switch. So it means, in theory, for the most casual consumer, oh, it's going to be a better Switch. Okay, I know what I'm getting. Perfect. Done.
And here's another thing. I guess this is more advice, but no one was listening. But with the Switch, Nintendo went. They made a cheaper version, Switch Lite, that was handheld only.
Yeah.
I would love for them to consider making a box TV version only of their next console in the future. That's not another thing I expected now, but I think that would be
Could be interesting.
the bigger step.
It
for
could be a
them.
pro model, essentially.
But like forget
didn't
about the
even think about
handheld part, because again, people can buy the Switch 1. Switch Lite is still working pretty well.
Or
But
you
if
just
you-
come out with the Switch 2 Lite as
Yeah.
well, in addition to that. So, hey, you got your console only one, you got your handheld only one. You can do that. Now, the only issue is you have so many different SKUs now that might fuck around a bit too much. To now people are like, oh, I got like 4 different versions of the Switch. Which one am I going to get?
sure.
It kind of makes it annoying where it's like, oh, maybe I'll just get a PS5 because I know there's a PS5 or PS5 Pro. I don't know. Even though there's digital, then there's a disc only, then you have the PS5 Pro anyways.
Do you think
Maybe it's a little confusing. I don't know.
Do you think they should be or are worried about the competing with the Series S at all? Like the fact that there's a console that's $200 cheaper than anything they
I honestly
have?
don't think they should be concerned about it because like Microsoft is not even in their lens. Like they're not thinking of Microsoft. But like here's the thing about Nintendo. Nintendo's always been focused on just themselves.
Even with these tariffs, they're not thinking about Microsoft. Like that's gonna be a lot cheaper
I
now.
think Microsoft, like, we've already heard the rumors that like this might be the last gen. We've heard about that they might team up with Asus for a handheld version of Xbox, and then after this gen, there might not be another Xbox. Hardware sales are absolutely abysmal for the Series S and X, both of them combined.
I heard the S wasn't doing that bad. It's the X that's shitting the bed
I
completely.
think, but both combined sales, I think I saw a number very recently.
It's awful. Awful.
It's like 20 to 30 million for both S
It's
and
awful,
X,
yeah.
which is bad.
But I think 90% of that
And to
is
give it some context, like I think the Wii U sold like 10 to 15 million. So like sure it's doing better than the Wii U, but like in terms of it doing better than previous iterations, it's definitely not doing as good as the Xbox One like previous gen. Like I don't see Xbox selling more units, unfortunately.
So I was watching a documentary on the NBA. It's called The Starting Five on Netflix, and there's a basketball player, one of the best, named Anthony Edwards on there, and he's all about gaming. He talks about gaming a lot, and he travels with his Series S in a small bag. And I'm using that point to say I actually think there is a market for something like the Series S, especially if it's $200 cheaper pre-tariffs.
Sure, there is a conversation for it.
But I think they have to think about
I
making
just
SKUs
don't.
fast.
My thing is, I just don't think the Xbox brand is that powerful enough to warrant like them getting a sales increase. You know what I'm saying? I think in theory, yeah, you have that cheaper option for people to get that. But then at that point, they might also look at it. If we're talking like very casual people, they might just look at getting a Switch One over a Series S, for example. Because like, oh, it's portability.
That's a
Because the
they should be
portability
worried about
aspect
that
is
too,
huge
yeah.
for people. I don't know. I just think Microsoft's pretty much fucked at this point. So I don't know if
They are.
much can really happen.
But
to
I
them.
think, especially with these, I don't talk too much about tariffs, but I think the whole point of like the America's side on the tariffs is that they're trying to push these American companies, and Microsoft is one of probably top one, top two, so they're gonna get government support.
But Microsoft also has like most of like in terms of like manufacturing, they're still getting all the parts from China and Taiwan. If we're talking
They'll
like
find a
chips
way around
processors.
that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like for them to start
Or
making
they'll
shit
just
in the
shut it all
States,
down.
there's a situation where like you're gonna start making your own like semiconductors and stuff in the States, especially. This is a process that won't be able to actually get fully realized in full production for like minimum 10 years.
Yeah,
I
good
don't
point.
think.
Good point.
I don't think so.
They have enough Xboxes right now. They don't need to be making.
I think they have
more.
enough Xboxes where like they won't get affected. Where hey, whatever
Yeah.
Xboxes they sell in North America, they probably won't even sell all of them. So
Oh, honestly, just bring the ones from Japan over. They probably sold 5 over there.
there might only be 5,000 units in total in Japan. I don't think it's
Sold?
even
Oh, they'd be lucky if they
maybe
got
sold.
5,000.
I'm just saying available
Yeah.
just to get.
I wonder
that
if that's
point.
like the lower class. Do you think kids get made fun of in schools?
Oh, if they have an
you
Xbox?
have an Xbox.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've seen how it was in high school. I remember if you had a PS3, you got shit on because you should have a 360 to play Call of Duty or like NHL or wherever games. Then that's turned into, oh, you have an Xbox One? PS4 is where it's at.
Yeah, you just can't afford a PlayStation 3 or whatever. But yeah, I bet in Japan it's awful. Because that is
Oh,
probably
it's
the
not
case.
exist in Japan, the Xbox.
But if
brand.
you're one
Absolutely.
of 5,000 to have it, you're either a developer or
You're probably an American living abroad.
or you found it for like $100 American.
It's probably clearance. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, I might as well
clearance,
buy it.
yeah.
Why not?
And then you're afraid to tell people. But anyways, I think is that it for all the hardware stuff?
Yeah, I think we've talked quite a bit about the
Yeah.
hardware stuff.
So
let's get into the real meat and potatoes.
So the real meat, and this is
games.
kind of what sells Nintendo consoles, and that's kind of what I was
Absolutely.
gonna transition and say is no matter what they do hardware wise, it does because you know what the Wii U was pretty decent hardware wise. Did not matter because they did not support it really,
Yeah.
or didn't have support. So with what they announced, they announced quite a bit actually. What do you want to start with here?
It's funny. They did announce quite a bit, but it wasn't a whole lot of like big announcements like I was hoping for. There are some big announcements. Let's not get it twisted. But in terms of first party stuff, I was expecting a little bit more. It was nice to see a lot of third party support. So if we're gonna start off, let's start off with the smaller shit first. Let's start off with the one game everyone was talking about. Maybe the most hyped up game there is. I'm talking about Drag X Drive, Hassan.
I don't even know what game that is. I'm just kidding. I do, but tell me about it.
What do you think about wheelchair basketball? Let me ask you that.
I mean, it's something I've always wanted to play, but I haven't had the facilities to.
So this is a first-party Nintendo developed, as far as I know, game where it's basically a team-based wheelchair basketball game where you control robots in wheelchairs, basically throwing basketballs in a basketball hoop.
Wait, do you dribble the ball?
No, so here's the thing. This is what they're trying to show off with the Joy-Con controls. So for this, you need your Joy-Cons, but in the mouse mode, and you kind of have to use it like you're using an actual wheelchair. It's an interesting control concept. It seems like it would be fun for a bit, and then after an hour, you're like, "Oh, this is cool. I think I've had enough." It's a pure tech demo kind of game. But as far as I know, this is being released as a full retail game for the Switch 2. And Nintendo put a big emphasis on it.
Now, is this something they would generally do, or do they have cheaper skewed games?
They would have cheaper skewed games, I would assume, and this would be one of them, but so far it seems like it might just be the regular MSRP. So let's say $69.90. We'll say $70 US at the moment. For us Canadians, it'll be like $90.
Okay.
So I think that's what the price is going to be. But we'll get into pricing games later on because right now it is still a little bit messy. We don't even know if that's actually going to be the price of the game. Who the fuck knows? But I just want to point it out because this is like typical, like one of those tech release or tech demo like Nintendo games that they announce like for launch of the console. So this is a very typical for Nintendo, but it's just hilarious that you have a game where they focus literally 5 to 10 minutes of the direct about a robot wheelchair basketball game.
Remember they used to give out games in cereal boxes, and they would in the mail they'd give you like the demo packs. I feel like this is the type of game that would have been on one of those
Tycoon was one of those cereal games.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's a good one.
That's a good one too. Yeah,
that's a damn good
one. Yeah, it's interesting that
you think that'd be a pack-in game.
Yeah, but
and you think this next game would be a pack-in game is the Nintendo Welcome Tour, where literally the whole game is about let's show you all the different Joy-Con and new features of like the Joy-Con and Nintendo Switch 2. So you're assuming, oh, this is like a pack-in game. This is like Astro Bot's rescue mission for the PS5.
Or Nintendo World, was it? Land?
It was Nintendo Land, but I think Nintendo Land, that was like a launch pack-in game because all the bundles included it, but you could also buy it separately.
It was their their answer to multiplayer or to like community services or whatever. But yeah,
but it was basically a pack-in game. Essentially, this is a game that's like a Wii Sports pack-in. Mm-hmm. But Sonic's not a pack-in game. You gotta pay $10 US to play this game, which is supposed to show off all your hardware and stuff, and be technically a pack-in game.
I just don't understand where they even get that price point.
Like, it's like why even sell it for $10? It's like why not just like release it with the console and just have something free for people to have, so they don't have to buy a game right away if they don't choose to. And it's a great way to introduce you to all the new features of the Switch too. So it's like, okay, oh, this is kind of cool, like the mouse control stuff. Oh, I kind of like this. Maybe I'm going to buy that Drag Eye Strive game, for example, because this is kind of cool. But no, it's not a packing game. You have to pay $10. For us, it's probably going to be like, what, $15, $20 for us Canadians to buy for it?
But also, it just seems like something you don't... It's like house money. Like, there's no way you started developing this thing thinking, oh, we're going to charge people for this. Yeah. It's like you probably decided just last minute, like, hey, maybe we'll make some extra money.
And you know what? This is the Nintendo way to think because, so I talked about the Wii Sports example before. That game was supposed to be retailed. That was supposed to be a purchasable game at launch. That was not supposed to be a packing game. Reggie Fils-Aimé, there was an interview a while ago where he basically had to convince Iwata and Miyamoto of why this game should be a packing game to sell people on the hardware. You have this, you got people used to the Wii motion controls, and guess what? People are going to buy the console because this game is with it. It's fun enough, why not? Nintendo's of the principle, and I know Miyamoto was very big in this interview, basically saying, but we spent all this time and effort developing this, we want money in return. It doesn't feel right. They don't understand that aspect still to this date, which is hilarious enough. Where it's like, we spend time and resources, we should get paid for this. That makes sense, right? But it's like, guys, I understand that, but like, you need something to entice people to buy your hardware, to where it's like, oh, you have this little bit, you have this game to play, it shows off your controls and stuff. Now I'm more convinced of the system itself, the controller itself. Now I want to explore the other games that want to use this, like Astro Bot's rescue mission on the PS5. That was such a great example of showing how cool the DualSense was with the analog triggers, the haptic feedback. The way that game feels is fantastic and does such a great job of selling that hardware to people. Where it's like, oh, this game's got some sick DualSense features, like Returnal, for example, where your analog triggers basically serve as two separate buttons technically. That's awesome. I want to explore that. Now it's like, oh, it's $10. You can buy it. You have to buy it. Now most people are going to be like, oh, this is like almost like a very advanced like game manual. Why the fuck should I have to pay for this? I'm not gonna buy it. So now they're not gonna make that much money off it. I don't know. It's stupid.
Well, not to mention that the Wii Sports was one of the main reasons. I remember when people were breaking
The
down
main reason.
well, people were breaking down the price of the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the Wii, and a big thing about it was you probably don't have to buy a game for the Wii when you first get it, and that was a big reason.
Especially if you're buying for your grandma or someone. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, you got the Wii. They're gonna play that bowling. They're gonna play that tennis forever.
It was actually a good game. I will give.
It was fun.
It was a good game.
It was very bare bones, but like
Yeah.
that's the thing. It was sold on gameplay. It was fun. It got you to like the Wii motion controls, which later on I did not love at all.
And it was
in
charming.
specific games,
It was like
definitely charming.
probably more
yes.
charming than the Mario Golfs now that you play. Like it had some
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
music. It like
Music's
had
very-
some funny
The
characters.
Wii had great music.
Yeah.
Wii Shop music.
Oh yeah.
I think it just recently got added on the Nintendo Music app. If you got Nintendo Switch Online, check it out. You can play all the Nintendo Wii music stuff, which is fantastic. Hey, have it as an alarm first thing in the morning. That's amazing. So we got those games
pretty
out.
exciting stuff there.
Yeah. So I think we should talk about the premier launch title, Mario Kart World. What do you think about it, Son?
Well, I think I talked to you a little bit about it. It looks cool. It's exactly what I expected.
Which is interesting you say that, but okay.
Like
go on.
in the sense of just going bigger.
Okay. Interesting.
But I don't understand why having open world was kind of the answer. It just doesn't seem like a game for me that I even think about like, it kind of sucks that I can't just continue to drive around while right after the race. It's nothing that takes away
Oh,
from
you
the
can.
game.
You can in the game. There's a free roam mode in that.
Oh, that's what I mean. But I think
Yeah.
they're pushing that. But I don't even think that was anything that I've ever desired in Mario Kart. The one thing that maybe I would have desired in Mario Kart is I don't know, did they talk a lot about the online, the multiplayer? I know they talked about the balloon thing.
They've shown like a lot of stuff about it. I don't think they showed off all the features. Admittedly, I haven't looked too deep into Mario, like the actual like treehouse footage of Mario Kart World, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm mostly going off what they showed at the Switch presentation.
But I will say it looks like, not to say that Mario Kart games aren't full-priced games, but I was expecting them to just put a paint on, or not expecting them, but there was a chance for them to just put a fresh paint on the most recent Mario Kart and just sell it for full price. And then I would have told you, like, maybe that shouldn't be a full price game. But at least it seems like they're working towards that full price. And this being their big game this year, which I wasn't expecting that. But I think I think it was just too predictable for that to be their big game. I was hoping for something else. What did you think about it?
I'll agree with you as predictable. It's like, hey, this is gonna be our flagship launch title because let's get real. Mario Kart sells insane. It's their biggest seller by far. So like Mario Kart 8, look at the sales data behind that game. It's insane, absolutely insane. So for them to have a Mario Kart game ready at launch, that's no surprise. That's not a shock. It makes sense. Now for me, I played enough of Mario Kart 8. I had my fun with it. Honestly, I'm not a big Mario Kart guy. I don't really care. Once I'm done all the single player stuff, I unlock all the racers, all the karts, all the different like laps, not the laps, like all the different like levels, all that stuff, tracks. I don't care. It's not too much. I played a little bit of online, got my fill out of it, but it's not a game I never went back to after launch. This game is actually enticing to me. It's like, oh, this is an actual Mario Kart game where I might spend more than 10 hours playing. I might actually soak some time into. The open world aspect, which usually I'm not the biggest fan of once games go to like an open world change for their series. This is one where I'm like, oh, this actually seems interesting and intriguing enough where like I actually really want to play this now. Like this is a game where if it was just like a Mario Kart 8 situation, like, oh, we got Mario Kart 9, it's more of the same old. Honestly, I don't even think I would have gotten that launch bundle. Or maybe I wouldn't gotten the launch bundle with Mario Kart. It's a good deal, yeah. That's the only reason why I would have got that bundle if it was that situation, just because of the deal wise. Or else, this is a game where I knew, oh, I'm only gonna play a little bit. Now I might actually put some good time into the game. Everything that's shown about it like seems really interesting, really fun. They went big. They for sure went big in terms of the open world aspect. I want to see how the frame roam area is gonna be. If it could make me feel like I'm playing Burnout Paradise just a little bit, I'm going to be stoked about that.
Yeah.
which I don't know if I'm getting the Burnout Paradise feels from it yet, but
Paradise makes sense for that with traffic lights and all. Like, sure, if they built the world like that,
but
to
you
me,
got a Nintendo version of it. Now I'm fully in.
I think it's gonna be fucking grass and sand and ice. It's not gonna be like cities and stuff. Which, that's kind of the thing. I'm kind of like, sure, if they were able to do like a Mario Odyssey type world where you're driving around and whatever, cool. I just think it's gonna be. I don't know. I guess you didn't play Monster Hunter, but the most recent Monster Hunter was the whole big thing was that it was open world. You don't have to go back to the hub and all that, and it doesn't add too much to that type of game because that game is so formulaic that it doesn't really make a lot of sense to not go back to the hub and check out your upgrades.
But it also seems like Monster Hunter, like you went away from that, whereas for at least Mario Kart, if you still want the classic Mario Kart style and play, you still have that option now, which is good. So like, hey, if you just want to do your races, you don't care about the open world bullshit, you still have that option there. So if anything, it's adding more to it instead of removing, which I'm always in favor of.
No, that's the big game on launch, and this is kind of the one thing that disappoints me.
Maybe the only game at launch, actually.
It kind of sounds like it, yeah. It just doesn't seem like, especially with Nintendo, it's like I love the idea of buying a new console and trying out something brand new, something fresh, and Nintendo would be the perfect company for that. Just even if it's an indie game, something new that can only play on that console.
Well, usually we're used to just playing a brand new first party release on console launch. For Nintendo, they've been doing this for a while.
But this is the same first party release for the last 3. I don't want to say 3 because I think the Wii U didn't launch with it, but it was the first main game for the Wii U. Other than Zelda, which was a...
Well, Breath of the Wild, I was going to say that's a pretty big
No, not Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it was Breath of the Wild for Wii U, yes. And for Switch.
No, on launch. I'm saying...
Oh, sorry, yeah, my mistake. Yeah.
It was the remake.
It was on Switch at launch, though, which was huge.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild.
What was the one? Not Majora's Mask. They remade the pixel, or the hand-drawn...
For what,
Zelda.
Wii U you're talking about?
Yeah, it was really good.
They did Wind Waker. That wasn't at launch, though, and they also did Twilight Princess as well for Wii U.
But I think Wind Waker and Mario Kart were the two big games for that console when it first came out, and then it was third-party games. But I think it's weird that, like, let's say you're a big Nintendo fan, like you are, and you're gonna buy the console day one, and your memory of each fucking console is you playing Mario Kart. It's cool playing, even if it's not a 10 out of 10 game. If it's a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It's weird that why I'm gonna play.
For Wii U, I know Mario Kart 8 wasn't a launch title.
It wasn't, but it was the
first.
first.
My launch experience of Wii U, first of all, was Zombie U. I always remember.
Yeah,
that.
It was like a third party game.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, the Wii U was Mario Kart was when I bought the Wii U. Because there was actually there was something, and
that was the big game.
There was the
That's
bundle.
The game everyone had.
It was almost like those were probably the only people that bought it. After that, no one really. Maybe Smash Bros. But
Smash Bros. Yeah,
for me, it's just it's not an exciting launch game. Like I think I would rather have some cool,
especially if you're not
games.
into racing games. Especially I can totally see that for sure.
I'd love to have a game that I can play for 5-6 hours.
I'll say this
on launch day.
If I could have had that Donkey Kong Bonanza be the launch game instead, absolutely. But hey, that comes out literally a month after launch, so that's almost like a borderline launch game. So,
and is that the game that you maybe want to talk about?
I just mentioned it. Why not? Let's talk about it. This is the best looking game that got announced by far. Anyone that likes 3D Donkey Kong games, guess what? You only have ever had one fully 3D Donkey Kong game. Tropical Freeze doesn't count. It's a 2D plane. Sure, everything's done in 3D. Doesn't count. Tropical Freeze, amazing. 10 out of 10. Donkey Kong 64. Try to remember playing that game as a kid. You might have loved it. You play it now.
It's tough.
The issue is it's one of the the shittier 3D platformer games of the time, the collectathon kind of deals. I'd much rather play Super Mario 64. I'd much rather play Banjo-Kazooie. Donkey Kong 64 was cool at first, and then the more you play it, you're oh, you literally this is a long game. Oh, you have to literally collect everything. Oh, it's kind of cool after the second world. And after that, I was like, ugh. So this game looks fantastic. So I think it is. We don't know if it's fully confirmed to be from the Super Mario Odyssey team, but everything gameplay wise looks fantastic. It's hey, you got your 3D Mario game, but it's a really Donkey Kong game. But guess what? What's the big selling point? Everything's destructible.
And there's a digging aspect to it too, right?
And you know what that reminds me of? Red Faction, baby.
Oh, interesting. It kind of
This is like a Donkey Kong Red Faction game for me, where I'm like, hey, if I have to get to my objective, I can do it in multitude different ways of doing it. I can just dig, get to my objective. That's fucking sick. I love that.
the digging part. Not that how it looked,
Mm.
but it kind of reminded me of Mario Kart or Mario Galaxy, where like they had like the rear, like some of the levels you dig into the
Sure,
you have another. So like,
but that was like set paths. It wasn't like you can make your own like.
For sure, but I'm thinking like you'll find secrets and stuff like that. Like if you dig down and you'll find like a whole.
Well, give me an example. Like I said, Red Faction, because like first level from the very first Red Faction, you can literally get a rocket launcher within like the first minute if you dig in a certain direction. I think that rocket launcher I don't think you get for like a while in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So like in terms of secrets and stuff, oh absolutely, that's gonna be fucking cool. And it looks like almost everything's destructible. The game is built on that. Physics look really impressive. Most importantly, it just looks like a really fun game to play. And if it's that Odyssey team, I love Super Mario Odyssey. I'm going to love playing this. This is the game where it's like, oh, if you didn't sell me on Switch 2, you're going to sell me on Switch 2 right now because I want to get a Switch 2 just to play that game right now. I think it looks fantastic.
I think we talked about it a bit. I'm not the biggest 3D platformer guy. I'm not the biggest Donkey Kong fan, but I think this is probably their Game of the Year contender for the year, and
for Nintendo especially, it could be one of them, for sure.
I think that's a great release date. Not to mention because I think it's like
I'm surprised it's like a month after. Like if it wasn't gonna be a launch title, I thought, oh, maybe they might push it to fall or something, have something to play in the fall. But they don't. Hey, you know what? I'm not complaining. That means I'll have something to play very soon after launch.
I think they're thinking they're gonna have 2 quick waves of like, let's say they sell out day 1. They have time to figure it out for
maybe do a Donkey Kong specific bundle.
Yeah, so like because if it's like everything's day 1, then they're gonna slow themselves down. So that June sounds amazing for Nintendo. Was it June 5th? Was the release date?
For the Switch 2, yes.
For the Switch 2, yeah.
And then Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's I forgot the exact date. I think it's like July 14th or something like that. It's sometime in July. It's the next month after.
Sounds like the summer of the Switch, to be honest with you.
It might be.
I actually think that game looks really cool. Again, if it ends up being just a collectathon, where it's like in a very because from my experience, Donkey Kong is a very difficult game. Maybe it was just a tropical freeze and
Donkey Kong Countries can be difficult, but like tropical freeze is like that's like in the upper echelon. Like tropical freeze can be very, very hard.
I remember just not
way more harder than the other games for sure.
I remember not liking like the 2D ones. Like I remember it was something about
that's literally most of the Donkey Kong games. Yeah. And I love those 2D games, especially tropical freeze. I think it's fantastic. What a great platformer. I'm excited. I think the name's fantastic. Donkey Kong Bonanza.
And you know what?
Come on, that's good. That's good old Nintendo.
Do you think there's ever a chance, especially with the new movie, that they would add voice acting? Because I thought Seth Rogen was great as Donkey Kong.
I never saw the movie.
Did you watch it? He was pretty funny, and I think
doesn't he just sound like Seth Rogen?
He sounds just like Seth Rogen.
That's horrible to me. But that's a nightmare for me.
But he gave such a. But you know, it made sense when. That's how everyone acted when they announced that cast. And it all worked out, and I don't know. I actually wonder if they're gonna go into that, try to make it a world like the Disney World, because the world they created
like a Donkey Kong movie in the future.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Hey, if they're gonna do that, I want a different voice actor though. You know what I want? You might laugh at me, but I think he'll be good. He'll have a good voice for it. Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames. What's he from?
Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay.
You know the Gimp guys?
Yeah.
And the guy that's almost getting raped by them? Might have to censor it out for the podcast.
Maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
He's that guy that almost happens to. He's also in Piranha 3 Double D as well. Ving Rhames has been in a bunch of stuff. I love Ving Rhames, but I think he'd have a good voice for Donkey Kong. He'd have a good no-nonsense attitude. But obviously, he wouldn't be allowed to swear.
Well, the Donkey Kong they created in that movie was pretty much, it was like a jealous... Have you watched Succession? Or you know about Succession?
I know a little bit,
but it was like the Kendall character, where it was like just trying to impress his dad to become his dad, and it created a different character. But it's I'm actually just wondering. It probably wouldn't be for this game if they actually have, because they made a lot of money off that game, off that movie, and they probably put a lot less effort. Like they realized that if they give people their assets, they can make money with
As long as
by
it's
breathing.
somewhat decent, like decent quality. It doesn't have to be the best thing ever.
But they don't have to do it. That's the
Exactly,
nice
yeah.
thing about the movies compared to the games.
Absolutely.
But was there anything else you want to say about DK?
Nah, I think that's it. Like everything, I really want to play it. That's the one game where they announced it. I was like, that's a day one. I wish it could be a day zero release. I can play it early somehow. I want to play that game. That's a perfect game for me.
All right, so we're off to a good start. June
Yeah.
5th, you get coming home with your Switch 2 with Mario Kart. You're saving some money on that bundle, but we'll talk about that a little later.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wait 3 weeks to a month, and then you have Donkey Kong.
Hell yeah.
What's next?
What's next after that? We don't actually know. This is the issue. So they announced some games for the Switch 2, some first party releases. We'll get into it in a second, but in terms of like when these games are coming out, we don't actually know. That's the issue. So like Metroid Prime 4, might as well just talk about that next.
Yeah.
They show a lot more gameplay of it. It honestly just looks like more Metroid Prime. Nothing fantastic. You have the psychic abilities now. That's the new selling point for Metroid Prime. But other than that, it's just more Metroid Prime. I don't know. People like, for me, I wasn't wowed by it, but like I love my Metroid Prime, so I'm like, oh, it's more Prime? Awesome. I'm playing that day one. When's it coming out though? We don't know when it's coming out. It's probably going to come out fall. It's still a 2025 release. But it's also Switch 1 and Switch 2 release simultaneously, so...
Do you think the Metroid Dread success or lack of it will affect the sales of this at all? Like, do you
What do you mean that there wasn't like a new game?
Because there were a lot of people that weren't happy with... No, that they weren't happy with Dread.
I'm shocked by that. Because,
Really?
like, if you liked your 2D Metroids, you should have loved that game. Because I thought Dread was fantastic.
Really? That's actually a rare...
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, no, but a lot of people were very annoyed by that game. It has...
If it was only because of the... I forget what the robot was. Like, the killer robot sections. At first, it could be very annoying. But, like, after the first chase sequence... They're almost all the same. Very easy to circumvent. Very easy to play through. The rest of that game is literally just classic 2D Metroid. I'm a little shocked because like that game reviewed very well. That was the best-selling Metroid game up until I think Metroid Prime HD remaster came out for the first one. I think I might have outsold that. Funny enough,
it might have been just like the simplicity,
but like
of the game. But again,
like it's just more 2D Metroid. We haven't had a new 2D Metroid game since fucking. It would have been Metroid Prime Samus Returns on the 3DS, which is way before that. But even before that game, the last...
Wait, the Wii one wasn't...
No, the Wii one... The only ones on the... Oh, you're talking about...
the Platinum one.
Other M. Other M's a weird situation, where that's like kind of 2D, but also kind of not. It's not the same control scheme. It's not really a true Metroid, like a Metroidvania Metroid game. That's a weird spot. Or else before that, the last 2D Metroid game was... Before Samus Returns would have been... I'm trying to think of it. Zero Mission on the GBA. Yeah, that would have been the last one. For like a traditional 2D Metroid game.
I like...
No, I'm shocked to hear that you've heard people say negative things about Dread. Because if you're going to say negative things about that game, yeah, it's a chasing robot situations I can understand. Maybe you didn't like the parrying, but other than that, it's a 2D Metroid game. If you don't like 2D Metroid, yeah, I understand why you don't like that. But like if you like 2D Metroid...
Is that the same developer? It must be.
So Metroid Dread was done by, I think the same guys that did, what are they called? Fuck. Mercury, I think, did it. So the same guys that did Samus Returns also did that game. And like Samus Returns was a pretty good game. That was a remake of Metroid 2. And like Metroid 2 is a pretty good game. I played originally on the Game Boy. I think 3DS remake is really good. There's also a fan-made 2D version of it that someone made, which I think is better, but whatever. No, but if we're talking about Metroid Prime 4, again, it looks more like Metroid Prime. You can use the Joy-Con controls or like the mouse controls, which is going to be my way of playing it for the most part. But also you can use the gyro aiming too, so if you have that option, you can do that. Or you play just regular like analog stick style. So like the fact that you have multiple ways to play Metroid Prime 4, I think is fantastic. If you love Metroid Prime, you're probably going to love this. But again, there was nothing that wowed me about it. It was just more of the same old. It's just that we haven't had this for a while, so it's cool.
Well,
is it going to be a Game of the Year potential? I don't know, actually.
I will say, even those 3 games alone have probably been better than Nintendo's last couple years combined. Like, I can't think of... I guess they might have kind of like abandoned the Switch a little bit.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
None of those games are better than Tears.
I'm not saying the game itself, but the year. Like those 3 games, it's probably bigger than it's a more full year in terms of like first party releases than they've had in a long time. I'm trying to think because
like for this year you're talking about.
like
Which year are you
if those
talking
3
about
games released,
specifically?
Mario Kart.
Oh,
Prime
I thought you were
4,
talking about Metro Prime Trilogy. Sorry.
No, sorry.
I was being confused.
Like those, like Nintendo in general. If those 3 games were
Prime
released
4,
this year,
Mario
it's a
Kart
pretty
World.
good year for the first party.
It's a solid
side.
year.
Yeah.
It is a solid year. No, if all those games do release this year, yes, for sure. And then you also have Pokemon ZA Legends as well coming out this year. So the new Pokemon game.
Like critically, that game will not do good, but it'll sell well.
I think it. Here's the thing. Critically, those games have done very well. I look at the games like was it Arceus where like that game literally looked like it was like PS2 visuals, but it ran so bad. And the textures are so
I
bad.
should correct myself. Not critically, but like I'm talking about like
they're gonna sell
the game of the year.
Oh yeah,
like
they're never gonna be considered
like
game of the year.
It's like an NBA 2K game.
Sure, but here's the thing: those games are gonna sell like shitloads because it's Pokemon. Pokemon sells. So let's get real.
But no one's gonna be like, oh well, they got Pokemon. I think it's just like a throw in.
But like Pokemon's like a big release where it's like, hey, that's a big first party release for them. So like for Switch 2, even though technically it still is a Switch 1 game as well, that's gonna do fine for Nintendo. Yeah, in terms of like launch year, I think now that you pointed out, it should be a pretty good, as long as the games turn out well, that's a pretty good fucking launch year to have for Switch 2. You got enough to play for like in terms of like what it'd be the first 8 months, I guess, because it's not a full year, whatever. I can't do the math right now.
Now, before I get to this next point, are there any other new game announcements you want to point out?
There's the one big one, but I'm sure you're gonna be the one to talk about that as well.
No, you can talk about it.
Well, we can talk about it after.
Yeah.
In terms of the other ones that they announced that are new, Hyrule Warriors is a new one called Age of Imprisonment. I'm not a big like Dynasty Warriors like Musou kind of guy. I never got into those games, so if you like it, hey, it's more of that for you. Cool. Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion. What a title. There was a previous Daemon X Machina game that was on the Switch.
Wasn't it a launch game? I thought it was. Maybe it's a
No, I don't think it was a launch game, but it might came out launch year, I think.
No, okay.
It was either first year or like first 12 months it came out. It's like mech fighting kind of games.
Yeah.
If you like that stuff, you're into it. When I saw that game, I was like, oh, this is pure like anime shit.
Mm-hmm.
Pure anime weeb stuff. I'm out. I don't care. In terms of like the big games that got announced, the next one is Kirby Air Riders, where if you remember watching, that was the second last game I think got showed off during the Direct. People were thinking, I remember like I was watching it live in some streams, and people were like, oh, it's going to be the new Smash Brothers game. You got Kirby coming out. He's going to show off the other characters and shit. I'm like, no, this is going to be a new Kirby game. Once they showed him riding on the star, I was like, wait, they're doing Air Riders? Really? So if you're not too sure, Kirby Air Riders is a game that got released on the GameCube. I never actually played it. It's got its little following. It's never that big of a game. I think it was basically just like a racing game, kind of. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I never played it, so people are excited. It's being directed by Sakurai, so that's the creator of Kirby. This is his first directed game since Smash Brothers Ultimate, essentially.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
people are excited.
And that's no release date on that one?
No, that just got. I think it might have been in 2026, or like not even in 2026. It's like, oh, coming soon.
It exists.
Deal.
Yeah.
It exists, but it's like it's not something that was crazy for me. Or I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't care too much.
Kirby's great. It's not a. It doesn't really.
I like some Kirby, but I don't love Kirby.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't really move the scale.
I love like Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland on the GBA. I love that game. I adore it. But for the most part, I've never been a big Kirby guy.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun, but they're not like amazing for me. That's almost it for the new games, but there's one big announcement that took everyone by surprise. I'm sure you want to introduce it because it's from a developer that you really like.
Well, you know what?
I really like.
I don't really. The name is not sticking with me. But
yeah, the name's bad. It's a bad name. It's a bad name.
I was really upset when I saw the word blood in it. And, well, it's a... Well, maybe you should say it. But...
So, they announced what's supposed to be a Switch 2 exclusive from Software that's also being directed by Miyazaki. You know, the guy that's directed Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, fucking Elden Ring, Sekiro. Like, this is a new Miyazaki directed From Software game called not Duskbloods, but The Duskbloods.
The Duskbloods.
Horrible fucking name. So basically, the trailer opened up. It was like, oh, what is this game? Oh, you have this weird glyph on the woman's hand. Then you see the architecture. It's a very gothic style. Then you start seeing how like the animation's the one character right away, and you know where you saw the From Software splash screen. So like, yo, is this fucking Bloodborne? It's not quite Bloodborne, but it's very reminiscent of Bloodborne in terms of like some vampire actions, blood being a main mechanic in the game. Seems that it will play like your traditional From Software, like Souls-like game, kinda. But the big kicker is that it's actually a multiplayer game. It seems like it's going to be 8 players, get into like an 8-player based run game where you get into the world, you have to grab some stuff, fight some bosses. There's not a whole lot of details that were revealed during that trailer or even at launch of the direct. There's a fantastic developer interview with Miyazaki himself. Highly recommend everyone read up on it because he actually reveals a lot of different details about the game. Where like some characters, so it has preset characters. I think it is 8 total, if I'm not mistaken. Number might be off. Where like some characters might not have good relations with another character, so you can get like certain items or like item progression, like I don't know, some kind of item progression, some progression system where it's like, oh, if you fight and beat this one other player character that your character doesn't like, you get something out of it. But some might like other ones that then have to team up to fulfill a certain objective. I don't know. The direct itself didn't show off a whole lot. It just showed off some of the characters you can play as. It looks like the boss wise, hey, this is a From Software Souls-like game. Read up that developer interview. It makes it a lot more interesting. And the fact that this is a Switch 2 exclusive game from Software, and it's going to be primarily multiplayer focused and not single player focused on Nintendo platform.
It's great, and
doesn't make sense to me.
The more you tell me about it, the more excited I am about it.
Okay,
and I think it more than anything, it's just exciting. I mentioned it before, to see that Nintendo's finally putting some money into the third party and getting one of the biggest third party developers.
Yeah,
to sign an exclusive with you.
Supposedly exclusive. We'll see. We'll see if it turns out to be a console exclusive experience where it's like, oh, it's Switch 2 exclusive, but you can play it on PC as well. We don't know yet.
They've never done that though. Like they're such an interesting, like the Demon Souls thing. Still, I know it's not them, but I'm pretty sure it's them that's stopping it from being ported anywhere else.
Or you're talking about Bloodborne?
No, Demon Souls, the remaster.
At least I got a remake on the PS5.
But I mean, like the fact that it's not on PC.
Sure.
Is a little interesting to me. Like they never really
re-released. There's rumors about that because you remember the Nvidia leaks a while ago.
They should do it.
In the video leaks, that's one of the games that was listed. Like that was going to be a PC version, and a lot of those games that got leaked out of it ended up coming true. And that's one of the few games that didn't get released. Yeah. You would expect it. You would expect it to be on the PC.
But same with the Bloodborne.
Most
thing.
other
you kind of expect it doesn't happen.
Now the Bloodborne situation, that's a fucking weird situation. So again, there's a lot of stuff where it's like people are like, oh, this is like a Bloodborne 2, but it's not really a Bloodborne 2. Aesthetic wise, it's very Bloodborne like. Let's not get it twisted. But like gameplay wise and the way it's like set up, it's weird. It's interesting.
I mean, that's kind of so. I imagine it's what Elden Ring is to Dark Souls, in a way, where like sure it's a whole new world.
Sure.
But if you play Dark Souls, it's like okay, it's not even close to a whole new world.
It's just like hey, it's a one big open world kind of
and
deal.
Maybe they'll
expands upon that.
They'll do that with like Bloodborne, where it's like kind of the same ideas, same mechanics, same bosses.
Yeah.
In a different skin, but I think it looks cool. I think it's a very great sign. Now, that was a very good. That was a plus for their third party support. Was there anything else that they showed to kind of let us know that hey, we're here to actually compete with PlayStation and Microsoft and let you play every game that you can possibly play on the Switch too.
So in terms of third-party support, I think most of the games they showed were actually third-party games, like either current-gen games or previous-gen games. So there's a lot of them that got announced. We'll go through a quick amount. So we'll go From Software, Elden Ring Tarnished Edition. So Elden Ring on the Switch too. Pretty cool. Hey, more Elden Ring.
Is that with the DLC?
Yeah, so Tarnished Edition has the DLC with it too. So hey, if it runs, looks good on the Switch 2, that's a great portable way to play it. Before, the Steam Deck was the best version, but even then, I think performance isn't that great on the Switch, on the Steam Deck. So,
PS4 wasn't that bad, so I assume it'll
well, the
do great.
PS4 performed better than the PS5 version.
Yeah,
It
that's kind
still
of what I mean.
does,
So
which is hilarious.
I think the power is not going to be an issue for them. I
It
have
shouldn't
high
be an
hopes.
issue this time,
Yeah.
as long as the development is actually proper for the game. But hey, Elden Ring, I'm probably not going to buy it unless I get it for dirt cheap. But that's awesome. Final Fantasy VII Remake got announced, an integrate version. So, and supposedly it looks and runs better than the PS4 version, some people have said recently. So that's interesting. Cyberpunk 2077, that's supposed to be out at launch actually for the Switch too.
That's a big deal.
From not developer interviews, but from people who have played it hands on, it's supposedly on a 7-month build, and it looks better than the Steam Deck version and also the Series S version, which is interesting. So if that's off a pretty old build at launch, if it could run and even look better, Cyberpunk on the Switch. Who thought that wouldn't happen? I guess it's happening. Witcher 3 was on the Switch 1. It looked horrible, but hey, it was Witcher 3 essentially. So that's cool. You got Street Fighter 6 coming out eventually on it. So that's cool. You got one of the best fighters out there. Borderlands 4 is an interesting one because that game is going to come out later this year. I don't know if they said it was going to come out same date release, like first day is.
They did say day one. From
Oh,
what
they did?
I
Okay,
understand,
cool.
it was day
I
one.
couldn't remember
Yeah.
because like I
could be wrong, but
I saw Randy Pitchford on my screen. I was like, all right, Randy.
we're not gonna talk about.
I kind of tuned out.
Yeah.
I kind of tuned out. When you're editing this, insert the picture of him looking freakish in the bathroom, please. Everyone needs to see that picture.
It'll be the pin picture.
Oh no, it should not be. Just look at the picture. You're like, God damn it, Randy. There's interesting was Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. Actually,
I hear it's one of the best ones.
that might be the best way of actually playing Yakuza 0 now, other than the PC version. Because the only way to play that decently is well, you can play on the Xbox Series X and X, but it's the PS4 port essentially.
Yeah.
So like, and it supposedly has brand new cutscenes, new side content and stuff too. They rework some stuff, so that might actually be the best way to play Yakuza 0. And you know what? If you haven't played Yakuza series yet, perfect point to start off on. I haven't beaten Yakuza 0. I spent a lot of time. I think it's fantastic. Yakuza is awesome. Highly recommend. Project 007, they showed a little short teaser of it. This is the first teaser we've seen of the 007 game being developed by IO Interactive, the Hitman guys, of which Hitman World Assassination is also coming out for the Switch too. But hey, 007 game's coming out for it. We didn't see much, but it was a nice little teaser to be
And
like,
that's coming out for everything, kind of as well.
yes, exactly. But that's going to be like Xbox Series, PS5, not like a PS4, Xbox One situation.
Okay.
So
Good sign.
but we don't know when that game's coming out. It's probably coming out next year. Who the fuck knows? Star Wars Outlaws getting important Switch too. I'm interested to see how that's going to run. Other than that, that Shadow Labyrinth game they showed off, I don't know if you know about that. It's basically a Pac-Man Metroidvania from the looks of it.
Interesting.
I'm on board. I like my Metroid.
They kind of did that with Tetris Effect or Tetris Mania, whatever it was. They made like a Metroidvania, not a Metroidvania, but like, what was it called? That Tetris. There was like that crazy Tetris game. PS4 came out.
No, that's just a crazy Tetris game. It's
Yeah.
not like a Metroidvania.
No, but it was like a weird like level thing where like you got to start level one.
No,
and
there's
you
a
gotta-
campaign to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. No, that's a. Was it Tetris Effects? I think so.
Well, that's kind of what I imagine. When
That's
you said
awesome.
A Pac-Man like where it's
No.
like,
This is like literally
randomized?
like. No, you're thinking like a roguelike if you mean randomized.
Yeah,
Like, as in, like, hey, this is going to play like a Castlevania Symphony of the Night or like a Metroid kind of game. 2D Metroid.
okay.
So, that looks great. I don't know if I'll get it for Switch 2. We'll see. Maybe I will, actually. If the version's decent, why not? And then the final game I want to point out, because this is actually a brand new game that no one knew about, was Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This is a game where I'm like, oh, I'm going to play this day one. Whereas a lot of people are like, it's a Marvel game. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about any Marvel superhero shit. I don't give a fuck. I haven't watched a fucking Marvel movie since Captain America 1 or Avengers 1. So, like, I don't care about that shit.
Yeah.
The only reason I care about this game is that, this looks like a Marvel beat-them-up game. So, like, you got a Streets of Rage, but Marvel-style game. That sounds great to me. I'm day one on board. It's a brand new original game. I don't think it's a Switch 2 exclusive, though.
The sad thing is, though, that's kind of what the Batman game that just came out not too long ago, or the
Batman game.
Or it was the Suicide Squad, where I'm like, okay, it could be fun if it's just like fun beat 'em up with these characters.
Yeah.
And then they as long as but the
But
thing
this
that
game
messed
is
it up
like,
was online only and
oh no, but
fucking
that's a whole
service.
different
Yeah.
situation. No, this game is literally just a 2D beat them up.
Oh, it's 2D. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
gonna
I should say
yeah,
it's 2D.
yeah.
No, it's literally like imagine like your Streets of Rage.
Mm-hmm.
To beat them up, but you got your Marvel characters. Like, actually, no. What's a good way of looking at it? You ever play like the X-Men arcade game back in the day? They'd have the arcade cabinets. Sometimes you get the rare. What was it? You'd have the 4-player cabinet, but you could also have the 6-player cabinet. It's just a side scroller beat 'em up, like
Yeah.
Turtles in Time kind
Yeah,
of deal.
that's more
That's
what I
all
was
it is.
thinking. Yeah,
It's not
okay.
it's not a crazy big game. It's a small game. It's just something where I'm like, oh, I love these type of games. I love my Streets of Rage.
How did the Power
Love
Rangers game do?
I probably didn't sell that much,
Yeah,
but
I heard it
think
didn't
I heard decent things about the game. It looked really cool, actually. That's a game I
Yeah.
wanted to play, but I
Yeah,
never
me
got
too,
around
actually.
to.
You just reminded me, but
Actually, I do want
maybe
to play that game.
maybe that'll come out for the Switch too, as well.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. That's pretty much it for like third-party games. The only other games we can talk about, the Switch 2 edition stuff. So
Yeah, I think we should.
absolutely. So there are games that are getting basically upgrades so they will run and look better on the Switch 2, which everyone assumes is going to happen. So that was your Breath of the Wild, Tears of Kingdom. Thank God, because those games, like, it's amazing that those games can run and play as well as they do on the Switch platform, but like be able to play that 4K 60 FPS is fantastic. Now I know how that feels like because I've emulated those games on my PC, so I know how it is firsthand. And trust me, it's a lot better. People, you're gonna love playing it this way. You have that. Kirby Forgotten Lands is also getting that Switch 2 upgrade. Pokemon ZA Legends, a new Pokemon game coming up later this year, that's going to have that as well. And same with Mario Party Jamboree, but it has the Jamboree TV pack, which adds exclusive like content, additional content for the Switch 2 version, which is pretty cool.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, though. This isn't a free update, right?
Yes, I was just going to say this next. So these 4 games specifically, or was it like 5 games I said, they will require one of 2 options. Either you pay, let's say you own the game already, you got to pay $10 upgrade, I think it is, USD, to get these like features essentially, to have it run and look better. Or you need to be, I found this out recently, because again, it's not clear. A lot of confusing messaging from Nintendo's point about the Switch 2 shit, which is disappointing. But if you're a Nintendo Switch Online member, they're free, the upgrades. Or free because you're paying for that service already, which is nice. So if you're already paying for that service, okay, you don't have to pay the $10 upgrade. But the issue is that, should I have to pay a $10 upgrade for these games? And it's weird because you said you wanted to play Odyssey before, looking better and stuff. That's a free upgrade for that game.
Oh, interesting.
They said other games, I forget which ones now, I'd have to look at a list later, where the upgrades are supposed to be free.
But
it's these ones.
But that's not a content upgrade, right? Like they're not adding content to. So it's only the ones that like
they're adding
things.
content. But here's the thing about it though, Pokemon ZA Legends, I don't think they said anything about any content because day one's gonna be Switch 1, Switch 2, so it should.
But
be
they're
the
gonna
same
milk
content.
sure. Pokemon, they're gonna.
And here's the thing for the Zelda games, like the content is that you have your phone app, and then you have like a GPS on your phone app, essentially.
Well, the one thing.
So like it's not really extra content. Now the Mario Party one makes sense though. There's a lot of decent like content that's getting added for the Switch 2 version. So it's like, oh, you gotta pay $10. It'll look better, run better, but you get this much more content and stuff. And they're doing something cool with the game chat stuff with that game specifically, where like your character avatars, it's gonna be your webcam showing you kind of deal. They're gonna implement that in the mini game. So like that game, okay, I understand why. Maybe I have to pay $10 for it. I don't like it. I don't love it, but I understand. Makes sense. But for the Zelda ones, it's like, it's not really new content you're adding onto it. You're literally just paying for a better quality version of the game. I don't know. I think
again, they're just penny pinching. Like I don't understand.
But the unfortunate thing, man, like this isn't a Nintendo only thing. Like PlayStation has done that.
They just started doing that though.
They've been doing it for a bit though. Look at Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West, all those PS5 upgrades, Days Gone remaster, which is coming out later on, Last of Us as well.
Wait, what was the Horizon one?
To play the PS5 upgrade,
but I think it came with a DLC too. It came with like the Forbidden West stuff. I thought.
Well, if I'm talking specifically about the Zero Dawn stuff, because like even if that came out old for the DLC, like if you had that old the DLC already, you still have to pay $10-15 to make it look and run prettier on the PS5.
That's got to stop. That's so crazy.
I hate it, but like this is an current industry thing where it's like the norm now, unfortunately. But again, the caveat is if you have Nintendo Switch Online, which basically Nintendo is almost like forcing you or trying to push you to subscribe to. it all comes with it, so it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And here's the thing, because we should actually talk a little bit about Nintendo Online, like pricing wise for it. I think I had it written down here actually. My apologies. I think it's $40 or $50 USD for the whole year just to get the base Nintendo Online. Really, it's not that much money. Most subscription services, like you're paying like over $100 for the whole year. If you're talking like a Netflix, Disney Plus kind of deal, or even like PlayStation Plus or Game Pass.
I still think
stuff.
you get more with those than you would with Nintendo Online, though.
But you're
really
paying,
do.
but you're paying like way less.
But
Think about it, like $50 for a year is fuck all. I think at that price point, like
Game Pass is like 70.
no, it's not.
Like, I mean, you can get it
Absolutely
at a good
not.
deal. What do you mean?
Sure,
I'll
okay.
buy it right now.
No.
CD
Yeah, but the deal.
70.
But I'm sure you can get those deals for Nintendo Switch Online too. We can't talk about the deals itself because that's a case by case basis.
No, but I mean,
if you're talking about Game Pass, like let's say PC Game Pass, for us it's $15 a month.
But also
without any deals, right away, 15 times 12. I'm not going to do the math on that, but like
no,
more
but
than
they have a
$150
price
the
for a 12-month that's under $100. The 12-month?
How much is it?
Let me see.
But I want to make sure MSRP. Don't go on any game sharing like CD key deals shit.
Yeah.
Because we got to talk about the actual proper price points. Because yeah, obviously you can get deals. You can get deals for anything. That's a case by case basis.
No, but it's like they're at the point where you're losing money if you're not going for these. Like, they're so abundant for Game Pass. But
Sure.
So Amazon, 12-month digital is $69. That's probably American. So it's still like, and you get a lot. But
Now, is that for Game Pass or is that like for core though? Because again, there's a million different fucking subscriptions. But again, but here's the thing: that's case by case. I want to go by official pricing.
But I even
though.
think like Netflix.
If you go by official pricing, it's still a lot more.
Yeah.
To pay for Game Pass, to pay for PS Plus, even.
But what do you get? So what are you getting for?
So for the
that
base Nintendo Switch Online, so you get the game chat feature, you get like the ability to play online, but that's like with everything.
You get
now.
Discord, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
To be fair, is the better Discord on consoles than any other console?
Sure.
Technically.
Sure.
If you want to get into it.
Okay, and
Then you have all of basically their game library that they have for what, the NES, SNES, I think N64 is in the base one, maybe Genesis as well, I could be wrong. Some Game Boy games, but not Game Boy Advance, that's expansion pass shit. Honestly, for the money, you get a lot of classic retro games with the Nintendo Online service.
then when they add the GameCube stuff, you get that as well?
No, so the GameCube stuff is the expansion pass. So that is $80 a year. But then you also get additional platforms, so I think that's like, what, Game Boy Advance? Maybe it is the N64, actually. That's on the expansion pass. No, it is, for sure. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. So you get a bunch of games with that stuff. To where, if I'm paying $80 a year, I don't think that's a bad value at all. Now, Game Pass is an insane value. Let's get real. Like, sure, it is more. I think at that point, I think Game Pass, like, if you do the regular official pricing, it's going to be more than double the expansion pass pricing. But you get a crazy good value out of it. But I think for Nintendo Switch Online, like for expansion pass now with the GameCube, which we'll talk about, I guess, in a sec, I think the value is there for sure. And again, if we're talking about the base online, like $40-$50 a year, I'm sorry, that's like fuck all to me. Like,
yeah, and I'm surprised
that's like nothing.
I'm not surprised they're doing it, but it's just so I'm buying the Switch 2 day one. I'm a new Switch member.
Yeah.
I'm buying the console.
Yeah.
I'm buying well, I guess you know what, before we do this, let's talk about the GameCube stuff.
Let's go to that.
So they added
So we have a list of games. I don't think they've confirmed what launch titles there are. I think Wind Waker is for sure a launch title. So yeah, first one you got Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, which is interesting because there's been heavy rumors that and Twilight Princess HD remasters were supposed to be coming out for the Switch itself. There's like for the past few years you've been hearing rumors about that. They're going to port the Wii U HD remasters and then have you buy for the Switch. Whereas now it's like, okay, we got Wind Waker, just the base GameCube version, which I won't get into it, but in some ways is better than the Wii U version. Whatever. This is another story. You have that. You got F-Zero GX, which I think is pretty cool. Soul Calibur 2, which again, pretty cool. You got Super Mario Sunshine, which did see that recent HD remaster. That was on, do you remember the little collection? You had 64, Galaxy 1, Sunshine, of which you could only get temporarily. So now you can actually play Sunshine again.
Temporarily.
Oh no, that was
That's
a big.
why it was, okay.
No, that was a big thing where like Nintendo did a limited time thing. Oh, you can only get it for 1 year. After that, we're never selling it again. Fucking stupid. Whatever.
They're crazy.
Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. That's a cool addition. I just recently played through that game a couple of years ago. I have it for the GameCube. You know how much that game is? If you want to buy it legally, Take a wild stab.
$100.
Try like 300-400.
Yeah. I don't understand these prices.
Don't get me started about retro game pricing. Please don't. To be fair, this game is actually really rare. I think it might have sold like 50,000 units in the States, so that's a really rare game.
But is that price to sell or just price to price it, kind of thing?
It's just whatever the price is in the market.
Like no one's really buying it for that much.
No, people are buying it
That's
for that
crazy.
much. But it's not like a lot of people. These are like collectors, scalpers kind of deal and stuff. I recently did purchase that game, but I got a very good deal on it. I did not pay that much money for it. I'll say that. I got a very good deal, and it's a very good copy. And then same situation, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Those games go for like hundreds of dollars, man. Mm-hmm. Like, people are paying a lot of money. So it's great that, hey, you have these games that you can play on the, like, legally now. Let's say you're a casual person, you wanted to play those games. Now you don't have to go out, buy a Wii, GameCube, and then have to buy a game. Or if you're like me, you're just going to emulate that.
Sure.
Let's get real. It's pretty easy to do.
And to be honest with you, I want to rag on them for taking so long with this, but they still beat PlayStation with PlayStation 3 games. So
that's a good point.
It's
well, technically, PlayStation 3 games you can technically play, but streaming only.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, actually, like,
which isn't the same.
Even like, I guess buying a PlayStation 3 game, like anytime there's an Xbox 360 game I can buy on my Xbox, I'll buy it because it's a cool thing to buy. $5, $10.
And it's actually, for the most part, most of them are backwards compatible with the Series X, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So I wish they had that. I would be,
like being able to purchase it. You're saying?
Yeah, I would be. Yeah. I would buy a PlayStation right away if I would be able to purchase MGS4 or.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, so I give them, that's actually a plus. There's not like,
because a lot of people have been clamoring about the GameCube games for a while, man. A lot of people are like, why didn't it happen in the Switch? Honestly, it's because the Switch wasn't powerful enough.
Yeah.
I should know this because I have a hacked Switch. The only way you can play GameCube games, now this is like a while ago, a few years ago, you had to get Linux running on it to actually run the Dolphin emulator, which is the GameCube emulator. So, like, and even then, it didn't run it that well at all. So, no, it's great. And then just to list the last few games, you have Super Mario Strikers, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's a good game.
Luigi's Mansion, I expect that. And Chibi Robo, that's a cool little nifty first-party game that a lot of people played. Okay. And that's also another game that's like $200 or $300.
Okay.
If you want to get it legally,
and course. Those are, so that's for with the extension for the Nintendo.
So yeah, you need the expansion pass, which is $80 USD a year. Which again, like, honestly, I don't think it's that bad because then you have a pretty good back catalog of like retro games that you want to play for other platforms. Like, honestly, you can get by just using that expansion pass, not even play any new Switch 2 games. You got a lot to play with. If you haven't played these games for a while, it's actually really cool.
That's kind of my thing, though. It's like, you can still do this other than the GameCube stuff, as far as we can tell, on the Switch 1. So there's not a much.
Oh, for the other games? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's not a lot.
The GameCube is the one thing where, like, no, this had to be on Switch 2, just because of tech-wise.
There's one thing
that's the issue.
We didn't talk about the games that you can buy, though. And that was that they introduced a new price to at least one game, I believe. Or did you see multiple games?
Well, again, I've said it a few times with the confusing messaging that Nintendo's been doing. It's hard to tell. So, what you're referring to is Mario Kart World's supposed launch price, which is US $79.99. So this is the most expensive game now to buy in the market. Now, there was rumors that Take-Two was going to do this to GTA 6. There was heavy rumors where they were going to up the price. Because right now, in terms of like inflation, games are technically way cheaper right now to buy compared to like back in the day. If you adjust for inflation, of course.
A game is such a good deal, in my opinion. Like, you can go to the movies with two people or buy a video game.
Movie tickets now,
it's like $25. So, like, that's the one thing that it's a little tough, where, like, no matter how much they spend on the game, the value you get from a game, how our world is working, it doesn't make sense for games to be $60 in America. But
it's a sticker shock point where, like, people aren't going to be happy. I understand why they're doing it. I don't love it. For us Canadians, it could be worse, though. Because guess what? Mario Kart's going to be $99.99 for us.
I mean,
without taxes.
Games are already, like, I think
they're $90 without taxes right now for us. So they're basically $100
but
to buy first.
Assassin's Creed was like a weird price. It was like 93. I don't know. It was weird.
Like 93.
Maybe it was like a special.
Shit? It might have been. I don't know.
But it kind of. So if that happens, it's not a big surprise to me.
No.
But one issue I have with just everything with this console and the potential of me buying it on day one is that Nintendo has joined the complicated market of buying a console now. Where back in the day, I buy a GameCube, I buy a game, I buy a Wii, comes with a game, plug it in. Now it's not to mention like, so I guess you do save about $30 if you buy the Mario Kart bundle. I think I saw.
I'm trying to do the math. Yeah, I think it is 30 bucks.
Yeah, so that
For
works.
US, yeah.
You buy that bundle, you come home, you have Mario Kart. You just spend about $550 after taxes.
Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned this to you before, where I think games are actually getting cheaper now. Sure, not newly priced games, but there is definitely more of a range of like the new Elden Ring game, Blood Rain, or
Elden Ring Night Rain you're talking about. Yeah,
is going to be, I think, $60.
No, I think it's a full retail price game.
No, it's not.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's
I'll look it up actually.
That's why I'm excited for it. It's
because I thought that was actually going to be full.
No, it's like a weird price, yeah. But essentially, like people, they have power to reprice stuff, and not to mention like let's say I just built a PC. Essentially, it came with hundreds of games I've already bought or tried to run and couldn't run, or and if I wanted something new, I'd go on the store and find something on sale for $10, $15.
Sure.
If I'm
PC's always good for sales, always has been.
But if I'm buying a Switch 2 on day one, I've already spent $600. Yes, 39 American. 40. Yeah, it's pretty good. Eh?
For Night Rains?
Yeah, it's kind of. I don't know if it's a DLC but yeah, it's
click on that. I gotta see that.
Yeah, it's like well, even on. I think it's 53 Canadian.
For some reason,
I see it on pre-order all the time. Yeah.
I was always assuming it was just a full-fledged resale.
Yeah, Canadian's 53. I mean, that's why I was excited for it. So it's
I was willing to play after playing the network test. Yeah. I was definitely more than willing to pay $80 for the game.
So that's a good example. That game's coming out May 29th. 2 weeks before the Switch 2. How is a new, like, I can buy 2 of those copies of that game.
Sure.
Instead of buying maybe a game and getting the Nintendo service. Essentially, it's just become so expensive, and I'm telling you right now, no one's going to be happy with the Switch 2 if all they have for at least a month is Mario Kart. That is not, you're not jumping into another generation.
I think most people are going to be more than fine with that. Considering how much Mario Kart 8 has sold, though.
But just play Mario Kart 8.
But but those same people are like, oh, this is a new Mario Kart game. It's open world. I guarantee you, those same people that love Mario Kart 8 that much are gonna be like, oh, I want to play this. Now, are they going to be enticed to play day one? Sure, we'll see. And we're talking like the casual people playing these games. Not so much the hardcore. The hardcore are still
I genuinely don't believe it's a tiresome game. Like you play that with 4 people for an hour. You're not touching that for the rest of the day. What, are you going to pick it up the next day? But this game's
a lot more different, and they've done a lot more for it compared to the previous game, where I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue.
Here's hoping. But sure. In my head, it's not a main headline game to have on day one.
But it's the biggest seller that they have for the Switch.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have it. Like, it's like buying Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. Like, when I bought the PS4, I bought the same Call of Duty I had on PS4 because I needed that game to play on the side, play with my friends. Yeah. But then I needed something to be like, okay, I'm playing the 6-7 hours on day one. Sure. I'm grinding this game.
You want the more hardcore kind of release.
It's not even a hard, but something that's like, this is why I'm buying this right now.
Sure, yeah.
And I feel like, let's say everyone's going to buy that. That bundle is a great deal. But then you're looking to buy a brand new game. Let's say you want to buy Cyberpunk 2077. Mm-hmm. You're paying full price for that game on day one. When
I don't even know if that's gonna be full price day one.
I
again,
feel like
this is the issue with the pricing right now. I don't know what fucking prices some of these games are actually gonna be.
So maybe this is what my fear is. I fear like these games that we've had for 2-3 years, like Elden Ring. Elden Ring's still expensive. Baldur's Gate will be full price.
Yeah.
But in my head, it's like, instead of that, why wouldn't someone just buy a Steam Deck, and you have this catalog of $10 games, $15 games, your old catalog, and if they're competing against that, which they might be, we'll see how popular in the next few years the Switch. It seems like
my counter to that argument for the Steam Deck at least is that you have all the games that you're gonna have on your Steam Deck in theory on the Switch too, but you also have all the Nintendo games. But
you got to rebuy them for a newly relaunched.
If you already have those games before, yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's always going to be a scenario there. But at that point, it's like if I already have a Steam Deck, yeah, why would I get the Switch 2? Essentially, I'm only going to get if I'm a Steam Deck consumer, I'm going to get a Switch 2 to play strictly the Nintendo games. Now, any future releases, I might actually just continue purchasing those games on the Switch too, if anything.
I guess here's a good way of putting it. I have a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And I'm buying the Switch 2 day one. I'm bringing it home. Looking at the games and how everything's breaking down, where there's just stacking costs on top of each other, I'm almost certain the PlayStation 5 is going to be my main console on day one. I'll play Mario Kart. I'll go play Call of Duty with my friends for the rest of the night. Yeah. And that's not like, so I feel like they're going to somewhat have to, I might be wrong. I could be wrong. But I feel like that is something that they have to fight, where it's like, what is the grab? What is the pull for me to buy this? Maybe Donkey Kong in a month might be that grab. But if I'm just coming home with it to play Mario Kart after spending $600, and now I have to spend another $80 if that's the case with these third-party games like Elden Ring.
Could you make that argument for the PS5 when it came out at launch, though? It had fuck all to play other than a remake, essentially.
But we weren't buying it we were buying for the graphics. There are other reasons to buy the.
But
they're not giving me a reason to buy the Switch right now.
But the Switch 2, it's like, oh, let's say you didn't like the Switch 1 because it was stinky, the graphics weren't looking good. Now you actually have a device that competes tech-wise with the PS5, and you have that on the go. And then you also have Nintendo games to play. And for the most part, you probably have third-party games to play on there.
I agree with
that.
That
are still going to be on the PS5.
But you have
that's pretty enticing for a lot of
you have to
people.
rebuy all these games, and you might already have them.
Yeah, but you can use the argument for any other console, period, though. I don't think it's a fair argument to use.
I'm not saying it's an argument, but I'm saying if they're releasing these games, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, integrated for full price, they're doing it wrong. If they make
if it's going to be full
if they
price,
can create a market where
like, these
people can have access to cheaper games, bundles, like if we can just jump onto that store and it's
but like how much cheaper is that game actually going to be then? Because at that point, like, I think this is like so unfeasible that it's never going to be a case.
I'm not saying even on launch. I'm saying, will this game in a month go when Cyberpunk 2077 on Steam is on sale for $20? Yeah. Will this game be full price, or will you be able to, hey, let's drop the price on this on the Switch version? Sure. I don't think that's going to be the case. And another thing I want to say is...
at least for Cyberpunk, though, it'll come out with the DLC, so they have a decent excuse of why, this is the full retail price. We'll say not 80, but probably 70 at that point. They can do that same with the Elden Rings. If that comes out, it is coming out with the Shadow of the Erdtree, which is a very sizable expansion. Let's get real. For $70, play on the Switch 2. When it first comes out, I don't think that's that bad of a deal. Now, if you already have Elden Ring like I do on the PS5, what the fuck is there a point of me paying that much money for a Switch 2 release? Yeah, I totally agree. Why would I do that? If anything, I'm going to wait for it to go on sale. It's more so for people that don't have those games already. Us, it's for people.
But the price doesn't make sense. You got they're already coming home with a $650 receipt, and you're like, I'm bored of Mario Kart. I want something to play by myself.
Yeah.
Hey, go on the store and pay another $80, $90. Like, I feel like...
But that's just how much games are, though. That's what... I'm really trying not to understand.
I'm saying games are more... Like, I'm saying the PS6 comes out. I promise you, like, if you want... Like, I don't want to promise this, but they're not going to reset the pricing on the market, on their store. They're not going to reset it like, okay, now every game is full price again because it's on the PS6. There's going to be a...
Depends what games are coming out, though.
Like, even when the PS5 came out, they gave you free PS4 games. Remember they had the catalog...
But it's no. You can't say it's free. You had to buy PS Plus for it. You had to be subscribed to PS Plus for the game catalog, though. But you still are technically paying for those games, though.
But
because that same argument, I can just say, Nintendo Switch Online.
But these are fucking old games, man.
Sure,
they're not giving you Switch One games.
Yeah, that's fair.
They give you Uncharted 4 on PS5 day one.
Still a PS4 game though.
But it looks great. Like, it's not. You can see the technology
you're still getting
that
an
they're
older
selling
game.
you.
You're still getting an older game.
You're telling me, like, I'm buying a Switch 2 and I'm checking out Mario Galaxy, or not Galaxy, Sunshine on day one. You don't have. You're not giving me access to Mario Odyssey.
It's more of a nostalgia. Yeah, it's more a nostalgia thing. Be like, you remember this game? Oh shit, I'll play this. I haven't played this since I had it on the GameCube. That's awesome. It's not gonna be a brand new release though. Yeah, for sure.
So I guess that's one of my fears with the Switch. The others. I guess it's more.
I'm still not quite understanding your argument, though.
It's not an argument. It's my fear that they're gonna have a market where nothing's cheaper than. What's their market right now? Can you buy a game for $10 on the Nintendo market right now?
What, on the eShop?
Yeah.
There's a million games. There's a lot of shitty ones on there.
No. I'm saying like they're new. Like what's something that's like Switch One, like the.
If you're talking about like first party releases,
yeah.
It's hard to find.
How much is Twilight Princess? $50-$70?
Well, you can't even buy that.
If it was
legally.
If it was out, okay. So that's not a good example then.
No, it's not.
Odyssey.
Odyssey is whatever the full MSRP is because it's Nintendo. Nintendo's always done this, though.
Yeah, but
I'm
saying PlayStation
for
doesn't
their
do
first
that.
party games. Yeah, here's the thing. This
Uncharted's
is a
not gonna be full
Nintendo
price.
specific thing. They don't drop down their prices of their
But
games.
I'm saying that's
They
going to
never
hurt.
do.
My fear, it's not my fear, but that's going to hurt them, and it's going to affect. If I want to buy a Switch 2 and be
Here's
like,
the thing.
look
I
at
don't
this-
think it's. I honestly don't think it's going to hurt them because they've been doing this for literally decades. And guess what?
They're not successful all the time, though.
But most of their money, guess how it's made? Not from the hardware. It's made from the software.
Okay, but how is
and
it?
they sell a shitload.
How was the GameCube and the Wii U, and the original DS?
Oh yeah, those are fucking.
That's what I'm saying.
disasters.
So why can't this situation?
But guess
be the
what?
Same?
See the best-selling games. Mario Kart 8 still sold a shitload on the
They're
Wii
going
U.
to sell their games.
It was almost a one-to-one attachment rate. Their attachment rates are always insane. They're way better than Sony. Anyone else publisher-wise in that regard.
I'm not.
It's a Nintendo issue, yes. Do I wish they would drop down their game prices over time like everyone else does? Yes. I wish.
I'm not even worried about their games, but I'm like,
the third-party games will go down in price, though.
will they?
Absolutely. So many Switch. You can get Skyrim probably on sale for like $10 on the Switch one, for example.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good sign.
No, it's the first-party games that are the biggest issues. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. If we're talking like, I guarantee you, Cyberpunk, if it's full MSRP, so let's say $70 at launch, I guarantee you by Christmas time you will be able to buy it on sale for like $30.
But my issue
you
is not that it's going to drop eventually. My issue is, am I buying it June 5th when I can buy it for $20? A better version for $20, or like not even me buying it. Someone out there, I'm buying this for full price. They're buying say
if they already have those consoles before and they have that option, yeah, they're going to pick the cheaper version for sure. And they probably, but here's the thing, they'll probably already have that version. Again, these versions, they can do a full price, whatever they want. Basically, they're selling these games for people that either don't own it or are willing to double dip because it's on the Switch too, and they can play portably, essentially.
In my head, it sounds.
I don't feel.
I
like
would
that's
rather spend $500 on a Switch with 4 games right now than buy a Switch 2.
I'd rather spend the extra money to get a Switch 2 so I can play those games.
But you have a Switch. You're talking about people that don't have that. I'm saying I'm someone who doesn't have a Switch.
But I'm saying as someone who even like, let's say I didn't have a Switch because I'm like, oh, I don't want to play these games. They're not going to look and run as better. Oh, now I can get a Switch 2. It's going to be more expensive. Yeah, no shit. It's a new console. What the fuck do you expect? But now I can play those games. I can play Odyssey.
Wait, but you're
way better.
You're forgetting the price though. That's what I'm saying. Let's
say you're paying more for it.
So Switch one.
No shit.
I'm coming home. I just spent $600.
Yeah.
I want to play Mario Odyssey. I'm paying.
You're paying
$80 on top of that.
But you're paying a premium to be able to play the game better and look better, though. That's obvious.
No. But what you're saying is like if they're selling to people that don't have these consoles, that is a point to be like maybe I don't buy this. Maybe I'll buy the Switch one.
But you gotta get into the reason why these people don't have the consoles in the first place. I'm going from the perspective these people don't have a Switch one because the versions always look worse. They run worse on it. Now I have a Switch 2. Oh, I'm gonna play a way better version of the game now that I didn't play. Maybe I wanted to play before. Now I have a much better reason to play. Do I have to pay more for the console? Yeah, absolutely. It's a new console. If I want to play the game in the Odyssey example, guess what? It's going to be the same price I would have paid for the Switch 1 that I'm going to pay for the Switch 2 for that specific use case. So you're only paying more for the console itself, for the premium being able to play the game
I'm not
better.
even saying it like that. I'm saying I'm coming home with a Switch 2 with Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I want another game. I've never played Odyssey. I'm paying
you have the
another
option to play
$100
Odyssey now.
By paying another $100.
But you would have paid that $100 back in the day on the Switch 1, though.
But when the PS4 came out, they weren't selling Uncharted 4 for full price on the PS5. Sorry, when the PS5 came out, they weren't selling Uncharted 4 for full price.
Yeah, sure.
I'm saying that needs to change to sell me.
Nintendo isn't going to change because they sell so much already of those games.
Well, when the Switch
tried and true,
when the Switch 2 fails, it will, and it will fail. I think. Personally,
how do you think it's going to fail? Like,
what's
our definition of failure, though? Because I know you're very hard on the Switch 2. I actually want to know why.
I think they're going to cut support for the Switch 2, or like let's say, will they ever make a Mario game?
Because what's a failure? How is okay?
They're going to keep pushing the Switch 1.
They'll push it for a little bit, but then they're going to discontinue it.
Like I think the next Mario will be.
They're pushing the 3DS for maybe 1 or 2 years before they fully discontinued it. After the Switch got released, for example, they'll push it for a little bit, but then they're going to be like, "Oh, this is the Switch 2. This is what's going to happen." No, they're going to phase out the original.
And
Switch
here's
1.
another thing that I think it's an interesting.
But like, what's actually going to be a failure for you is like 20
their
million?
support of it and other people's support of it. Same thing with the Wii U. Wii U sounded great. If people didn't support it and then Nintendo doesn't support it, by releasing one game every 3 years. That's
But in theory,
full
the
price, and
support.
then
But here's the thing.
but their backlog is like.
But there's
so
reasons for
expensive.
the third-party support not happening for the Wii U. You had a gamepad that most people were forced to develop for. You had inferior hardware compared to the PS4 and Xbox One at the time, where like you were going to develop a very nerfed version of the game. So then, what the fuck's the point of spending the extra time and resources?
I've never felt that they were making nerfed versions.
They were though.
Are you talking about the third-party people?
For third-party, yes.
Oh, I'm not.
Absolutely.
I'm saying Nintendo wasn't making nerf versions.
I'm talking, yeah, but you mentioned the third-party support though.
I'm saying it wasn't even there.
And then even if you look at the Switch, you had the third-party support, but it wasn't as strong as it used to be because guess what? Developers didn't want to spend much money on a gimped version where they know, oh, this is probably going to sell more in the PS4 or the Xbox One, for example. And guess what? The Switch still sold a shitload though.
Will Witcher 4 come out on the Switch too?
Yes.
Absolutely. It will not. It will not.
Well, it depends.
It won't even run on the PS5, to be honest with you.
Oh, so you're thinking Witcher 4 is going to be a PS6 game?
Or like maybe it'll run on the PS5. It won't it'll have problems with the PS. It'll be a long time in my opinion. I don't know.
With the tech, but here's the thing: the specs in the Switch 2, there's no reason for it not to be playable. Is it going to be as nice as the PS5 version?
It's 120 at HD. That's not amazing. That's
how
great to
often
compete with now.
Okay, how often do you get that on the PS5?
I'm saying now. It's great. But you're talking about PS6, Witcher.
Well, I'm saying if that comes out for the PS6, we have no idea.
Like no one's. But anyways,
we don't even know if the PS6 is going to come out.
That's just one thing. Like again, like if they come out and I see like they're running their store like I don't want to say Steam, but if they're making games accessible, I don't care about like the day one releases. But I love the idea like maybe if I wait a bit, it's gonna drop sale, and that's been how like sales have been the main point of this generation for me. Like I've been able to play so many games just waiting. And then the one thing I want to ask was like do you think before this launch release will we get any confirmation from Microsoft I don't want to say Take-Two, but Grand Theft Auto that they're going to be supporting it eventually? I don't think Grand Theft Auto because they're probably waiting for the PC announcement eventually.
Well, they've already said the PC is not coming out at launch for sure.
Oh, for sure.
They already confirmed that, which again, I'm not surprised by. To be fair,
well, it's smart. Like I'm gonna buy it twice. You're probably gonna buy it twice. I don't know about you, but
I don't know if I'm actually.
They'll make it better. Like
here's the thing: I bought GTA 5 on PS3 at launch, knowing I would definitely buy a better version of the game on PC once it came out. And guess what? That exact thing happened. Mind you, when I got it for the PC, I got it for like $25 though, so it was well after the fact. I made sure I had to fully double dip.
And like they added like
but they know. But
mode,
here's the thing:
so.
Take-Two know they're gonna double dip. People are gonna double dip for GTA. It's that big of a game. Absolutely, it's gonna happen. Oh, now you're telling me I can play on my much better PC, have it look better? Of course.
I'm going. I might triple dip if I had another console. Like it's just one of those things that you want on every console.
Now I'm not going to triple dip.
Well, they should. And
or even double dip. I don't. I might double dip. We'll see.
On another note, never. They should never do crossplay. Like that's one thing. No, but GTA 5, I have it on PlayStation and Xbox because I want to play online with those friends.
Isn't that crossplay?
No, it's not. And intentionally. Oh, Baldur's Gate is crossplay now, by the way. It's pretty big news.
But here's the thing. But crossplay is becoming more of a norm between multiplayer games. Like, if your multiplayer game doesn't have crossplay, that's pretty fucking bad right now. So I think GTA 6 are going to make sure it's crossplay.
Well, did you hear?
I think a lot of people are going to get
Did you hear they just split up their PC fan base with the Legacy edition?
Yes.
Yeah, so they do some very weird...
No, here's the thing, though. I will say Take-Two can get away with it because they're one of the few extreme cases. Let's get real. GTA is big enough where like people are going to get pissed, but guess what? They're going to spend the money. They're going to double dip. I've done it myself, even though I said I wouldn't.
So maybe I won't make the question about Take-Two, but I think Microsoft is an interesting point. Like, will they come out and say that maybe just Call of Duty? Because that's the only one that's day one on PlayStation as well, right? I can't think of another Microsoft game that's day one on PlayStation.
Doom's going to be
like that's already come out.
That's already come out.
Yeah, that's probably the first and only. They will be in the future. I think.
Oh no! From this point now onwards,
yeah. It's going to be. I think that Indiana Jones thing they should have released that month later. I don't know why they. I mean, if they could have, I don't know. But
I feel like I don't know if it was some exclusivity deal or some shit like that. I don't fucking know.
That was an interesting one. But I think that game would have done very good on PlayStation day one.
I still think it's going to do good on PlayStation.
It will. I think it's a PlayStation.
I think it's going to do good.
It makes sense on PlayStation more than.
Oh, I absolutely agree because now you got people like, especially Uncharted fans, are like, "Oh shit, this is going to be my Uncharted fix."
That's why I played it. It's a good game. Yeah.
But
yeah. So what do you think?
No, that's
about
interesting. About the
Microsoft
Xbox?
having to like talk about the Switch because they're the biggest third party developer in a way. Like assets. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Now,
So like they
absolutely,
have
yeah.
to. They
No.
have to say something about it.
Well, first of all, I think they are going to start releasing their games, if not day one right away, eventually for sure. As in, I'm going to say expect to see the Halo Master Collection on the Switch too. Expect to see Doom. Well, we've already seen Doom on the Switch,
Yeah.
period, for fuck's sake. So Doom Dark Ages, like the newest Doom, that comes out literally next month. So like, that's not going to come out right away for the Switch too. That might be like next year or some shit.
Well, even the Black Ops 6, they could have made it easy.
Here's the
$3
thing.
million off
Call
that.
of Duty on the Switch too. Why wouldn't you do that? Guess what? It's going to print money
And
for you.
specifically Black Ops 6, like no one's buying that game anymore. You release that day one for Switch 2. You're probably that's probably gonna be the second game.
I don't think that's going to come out. I feel like they would announce that.
Oh, they
direct.
won't. But I mean, like,
yeah.
In my head, I was surprised they didn't announce that because that'd be such a good deal.
Well, here's the thing: there was actually no Microsoft games that got announced for the Switch too.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And there was rumors that there probably was actually going to be. Like a lot of people are expecting, oh, maybe some Halo, maybe some Call of Duty, maybe Doom, any of these first party like Xbox games. Like, people are expecting to be on Switch too. Here's the thing: it's not a case of if; it's a case of when. It's going to be happening soon. When they get to the day one point though, like let's say the next Call of Duty that comes out this fall, I don't think it's going to be day one Switch 2 game.
Unless that's
the one next year, 2026.
I think it has to be.
Absolutely.
For people to take the Switch 2 seriously.
Absolutely.
Even if it's like a 1 month delay, it doesn't look
But it's
good.
interesting. Like there hasn't really been a new Call of Duty game on the Nintendo console since Wii U, but it had like Black Ops, one of the Black Ops as like a way later port of it, or else for the most part, like the last time there was like day one release dates for Call of Duty on Nintendo consoles was pretty much the Wii actually.
Yeah. But you think like
It was a
Microsoft
while ago.
being involved now, they'd push more for that, like because
no, they're at the point where like, hey, we're not going to do first party exclusives anymore. We want our games on as many platforms as possible because guess what? Software is how we're making our fucking cash.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No, they probably have looked into it. They probably have multiple games in development for the versions to be on the Switch too. Right now, why wouldn't they be? It's just free money for them essentially.
Yeah, like even Black Ops.
The fact that
I'm shocked about
why they
Ops
didn't
6.
announce anything, I don't know. Actually, no, I'm curious. I'm curious about it. I think
that's a big point of contention.
I'm expecting to see Halo, but like, who knows? Maybe the same day they announce Halo on the Switch 2, they're gonna announce it for PlayStation 5 as well.
What do you
Because
think
we
would come
still
for
haven't
Master Chief
gone,
Collection?
we haven't gone full force into all the Microsoft games being on PlayStation yet. We only have a few of the smaller ones. We haven't had the bigger games yet. Sure, there's Indiana Jones, but we still don't have the Gears of War. We still don't have the Halo. Once you see that on PlayStation, yeah, you're gonna expect to see that shit on Switch.
I think that's
it's
more
coming soon. Though.
Development time than like contracts and stuff. I think that stuff just takes time.
Yeah, it'll take a bit of time, but like a lot of the system infrastructures are basically the same between all the consoles now, so it's very easy to like develop for these consoles.
Yeah, I mean they're
like
also
Xbox is not that much different architecture wise from the PlayStation, so it's easy to port over. Now, obviously, like you guys spend the time. Maybe they just started developing shit like a couple months ago.
Well, they were
just
fighting on
we don't know.
in court too, right? So they
Yeah,
probably
you did have
were
that
like
as well.
they stopped everything.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
no,
so.
absolutely. That's
But
a good point.
It's very interesting that it's like it seems like there's going to be a 2-company alliance somewhere here that's gonna not in the sense of like whether it's Microsoft fully supporting PlayStation or Microsoft fully supporting. I don't think Microsoft
because we have some PlayStation games on the Switch too as well. You don't remember seeing it. The Patapon games are going to be on the Switch too, and those are PlayStation games.
But I mean, like
now they are small PlayStation games, but the
Yeah.
fact that oh shit, you got PlayStation games on the Switch too. You had Horizon, the Lego Horizon game on the Switch 1. So like. Even Sony's like getting their feet wet. No, they're not going full force.
I think Sony's all about the timed exclusive now. I think they realize it doesn't take away from anything. So I definitely, I definitely hope they're doing that. I think the Uncharted series would be amazing on the Switch 2.
Just have Uncharted on everything. Why not at this
like
point?
that playing that on an airplane or something is
That'd be cool.
Be great. Yeah.
I would still love to play the original Uncharted on the PC. Still, I'm still waiting for that.
I actually just found out that wasn't on there. I was looking for them.
I thought for the longest time it's the same thing.
Yeah.
As well. No, it's literally just what Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, and that's it. But not Uncharted 1 to 3.
Crazy. So that
Considering you got
3.
the HD like remaster on the PS4.
Yeah,
PS5.
you have the PS4 version.
So you would think that'd be easy to port over.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. It's weird.
I guess maybe it's like they show you all their games and they're like, which ones do you want? And maybe those aren't the very first ones they want on their console.
But it's weird. It's like you start on later in the franchise.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense. You think we'd start, we're going to give you the old one. So, it kind of makes sense if you haven't played these games before. Because if you play Uncharted 4 right away, if that's your first Uncharted experience, it's kind of weird, actually.
Yeah. Well, just wait for Gears, because Gears 1 is remade or remastered. Then 2 and 3 are not. And then...
I think those are going to get straight, like, HD remasters. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy with them, personally.
But if they bring them
to
the
totally
PlayStation, it's like... It's the same issue I'm having right now, where the Gears of War 1 is the best-looking one. Then 2 and 3 are, like, such a drop-off.
You know what? Because it's... From what I've heard, it's actually really easy to port those old... Those are on Unreal Engine 3, those Gears of War games. So porting over to, like, Unreal Engine 5, I don't think it's that hard to do.
I think it's more time than anything.
No, it's more time, but it's not as much time as you would expect from doing those ports. Like, if it was on different engines.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think...
So, if anything, like, porting those assets over into the the Unreal Engine 5, it's a lot easier, a lot less time-intensive than it would have been back in the day. So, like, actually, they probably will get remakes, but it won't be, like, full crazy remakes like, look at like a Demon Souls PS5 remake, for example. No,
it's pretty interesting. I'm really excited to hear about. I mean, Microsoft's just now that we heard PlayStation, we heard Nintendo. The next one to really tell us what they're doing this year is Microsoft, because they really have. Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Wow.
The Halo Master Chief Collection, they still can't optimize that thing. It's like 150 gigs for 3 tiny games, and so like I imagine, like,
is it 150 gigs?
It's ridiculous.
No, but this is an industry wide issue because like look at fucking Indiana Jones. That game's like 120, 130 gigs. You're telling me that should be 120?
But I think that's a naturally born 100. Like Halo 1 was.
I don't think games should be that big right now.
Yeah.
Don't get me started about compression, like how games are made, optimization of that bullshit right now. That's a common issue right now. Where like I think some of these games are like they should not be this fucking big.
No, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
I know people meme on Call of Duty being like 150 gigs. At least you can make it so, hey, if you want to play Warzone, that's like 70 gigs.
Yeah.
At least you can just have that. You don't need anything else. You can have that. Oh, whatever.
But how do you take, like... See, that's like the
Halo Master
original
Chief
version. Halo 1 was probably like 50 megabytes.
No, it wasn't.
I don't know what...
When it first came out, like...
What can you put on
4 gigs max.
Okay, it was 4 gigs.
Maybe 5 gigs, actually.
How do you put that through the processor and it comes out as a 60 gig game and it looks almost the exact same?
Poor optimization, which a lot of developers are guilty of.
But that's kind of what I mean
by... this is an industry-wide thing.
But that's what kind of what I mean by...
I agree with you.
It takes time. Like, if they want to make Halo Master Chief Collection, I think the issue is they can't figure it out on the PlayStation, rather than like, should we do this or that?
If anything, no, that'd be more of like a Switch issue than PlayStation.
Or maybe
issue,
Switch,
actually.
But I think even on the, like, do they want to release a Halo Master Chief Collection? It's probably going to be 300 gigs on the PlayStation once they're done with that thing.
It shouldn't be. It should not fucking be.
So, do you have anything? So you seem like you're on the opposite side of the Switch, or you think it's going to be. I don't want to say a runaway success, but it's an easy success.
Oh, no, it's going to be an easy success. Will it sell 150 million units like the Switch 1 is projected? No.
I don't think anything will.
Will it sell 100 million units? I don't know, actually. I'm on the fence. Is it going to be a failure? No, absolutely not. Because my idea of failure is it's going to drop down 90% in sales like the Wii to Wii U did. I don't think that's feasible at all. I think that makes no sense in today's market. The Switch 2, it's not doing anything fucking absolutely insane, asinine, no stupid gimmicks where it's going to force developers to develop for it. It seems to be very third-party safe to develop for. In terms of people being able to bring over to the library and eventually get a Switch 2, I think people are going to be fine with that. Because it's like, I got these games on the Switch 1. Maybe I don't want to get the Switch 2 right away. Year or 2 years from now, it's like, I got money saved up. I can play my Switch 1 games. It's going to be easier transition to do that. And you also don't have the fucking asinine naming convention like you had from the Wii U, where people are like, wait, is this like an add-on? A U add-on? Whereas you got Switch 2, right away, it's Switch 2. I have a new Switch device. I have a Switch device. It's the sequel to it. I can play my old games on there? That's pretty cool. Maybe I won't buy it day one because there's not enough interesting shit. I understand that argument right away for it, but I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be Switch 1 success. It's going to sell a good amount, though. again, I likened to the NES to this SNES, where I think the NES sold, I want to say like 70 million units total. I could be wrong. SNES was like 55, 60. So like, yeah, it sold less, but it still was a success. Like Nintendo did well with Super Nintendo for sure. But then it's not like a Wii to Wii U, where you're saying, I know we talked before, you think it's gonna be a Wii to Wii U kind of situation. I just don't think it's gonna be like that at all. There's not too many negatives outweighing the positives about it in terms of being that much of a failure. I don't know. I just can't see it. It just makes no sense to me.
It's a good point.
It's too extreme.
One last thing I was just thinking about actually, because it's actually a little ironic because they're just finally getting third party support.
Yeah.
But no matter what, because you're getting a
good third party support,
but you're getting a Switch 2, and you have to expect a grim fall. It's not because
I don't know what's coming out in fall. That's the issue. I don't know what's coming out in fall.
But third party wise, there's nothing coming out. So there.
But even first party wise, we don't know either.
I mean, even if they release something first party.
Well, also mind you, for the first year releases of consoles, I give a little leeway because usually for first year for a lot of consoles isn't that great.
For
period.
sure, but it's grim,
that is common.
It's a grim fall because of Grand Theft Auto though, and like
unless Grand Theft Auto was somehow day one on Switch 2.
Yeah, then it saves
I
everything.
I don't think so. I think it'll be on the Switch 2, but like next year.
Because if you're not buying Grand Theft Auto, let's say you have a PS4.
That's day one. That's gonna be
let's say you have
a
PC only.
Yeah.
You have a grim fall for gaming this fall. Sadly, like unless
for PC gaming.
I mean, not PC.
PC
like
only?
New releases, not PC only, but like when everyone's playing GTA 6.
Oh, it's gonna feel like shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like gonna be a very grim fall.
Yeah.
Nothing's getting released for that 3 month before and after and in between of GTA. So it's almost like I was saying, like 2009 when Modern Warfare 2 came out, felt pretty grim to me. Like it was like I felt stupid buying Uncharted 2 because I couldn't afford multiple games, so I had to wait a little bit for Modern Warfare, and all my friends like didn't buy any games up until Modern Warfare 2, and then you wait until Christmas. So I think it's gonna be like that, where it's like a month and a half to 2 months before GTA, we'll get a trailer, we'll get leaked gameplay. Everyone's gonna be talking about that nonstop. Every podcast is gonna be talking about it. The month before we'll be playing Metal Gear, so we'll be good then. And then the month after is gonna be like people waiting for GTA Online.
Sure.
And I guess they're releasing GTA Online after as well.
Yeah, it's not coming out at launch.
So that's another, like, they probably have all the rest of the year.
But here's the thing, they don't have to release that shit at launch.
They might not even have to release it, to be honest with you.
What, GTA Online?
Like, GTA 5 still makes enough money where they're like...
Oh, no, they could do the online, like, 2 years after.
Yeah, they could do, like, 2 years after.
I totally agree with that. Like, again, Take-Two's a different example. They're the most extreme example because they can get away with all of this shit. Because guess what? They print fucking money. GTA 5 is one of the biggest... There was, like, what? Didn't it sell, like, 220 million copies, like, total worldwide? They released that very recently, or some crazy number. GTA 5 in terms of sales.
I don't even want to hear what GTA 5 made.
No, it's pretty. I'm pretty sure
there's probably nothing in. Like, there's not a single product in history that's probably sold more than that. Can't think of one. Maybe the iPhone, if you consider every single iPhone. But
as of November 2024, GTA 5 has sold 200 million units. So there's something I saw very recently though. Yeah, so 200 million units for one single fucking game. The only thing that's comparable is like. What the fuck is comparable, actually? Oh, Minecraft. I think Minecraft has sold more.
And Minecraft was a $25 game?
It is a cheaper game. It's been out longer as well, too. And also on way more platforms as well, too.
And that's a big thing.
Literally people
buy it on everything.
So that's a weird scenario where it's like... Yeah, it's like... Yeah, Minecraft. That's a different story.
I wonder... Like, people don't really talk about World of Warcraft numbers. But I actually wonder if, like,
I think the number... Here's the thing. They make enough money, monthly subscription-wise, that they still make a huge profit off of, I'm pretty sure. But it's nowhere near, like, the height of Warcraft.
But do you think year-to-date, not money, year-to-date, they would compete with the GTA 5 sales? I wonder.
Absolutely.
I think so, too.
Well, mind you, World of Warcraft has been out since, like, what, 2004, I think?
Yeah.
So you got 20 years of the game.
But
so, like, yeah.
And that's a full-price game, too, right? World of Warcraft? Well, it used to come out with like a 1 month subscription for $60.
But here's the thing, you also have to pay for the expansion packs as well. The
but it's both, right?
But then you pay like, what is it, like $15-20 a month to play it? Or it might have been less. I don't know. I never got into WoW. Again, that's a different story. Like WoW's made a lot of money, but it's been around for a while.
But
if we're talking like actual games that were like released as like single player games, technically, like you can go buy at retail. Yeah, nothing competes with GTA 5. I can't think of anything.
I mean, you can do
Even like Mario Kart 8 sold fucking a shitload on the
I was
Switch.
gonna say Mario Party, or not Mario Party.
Mario Kart sold a lot.
Not Mario Party. Sorry, Nintendo the Sports Wii Sports. But if you count,
Wii
if
Sports
you
is
actually
up.
break it down,
That-
which they do actually, they break
Which
it.
I just don't
It's so
understand.
ridiculous. They're gonna do that with Mario.
Technically, the only reason they do that is because technically you could buy that game separately. That's the only reason. Even though, let's get real,
Well, do you
that's
remember
like maybe 1% of the sales.
Uncharted 1 sales, who are like ridiculous, because
they?
they bundled it with the Slim, or not the Slim.
Was it bundled?
That was the
I don't
first.
ever remember
That was
the
like
game
the
being
first
bundled.
PlayStation bundle. Was like the Uncharted 1. It was after. It was a year after the release date.
Was it actually?
Yeah,
I don't remember
and
the bundles. I'm
it,
trying to remember what bundles there actually was for the PlayStation that had games. I can't even think.
it was.
of
I think it was like Ratchet and Clank. There was the Motorsport, and then there was the Uncharted. They didn't do like full
Motorsport.
like.
Oh, you mean Gran Turismo?
No,
Motorsport. What do you mean?
it's the rally game. Motorsport. It's an off-road game. Remember? You don't remember that Motorsport?
Oh, MotorStorm.
Motorstorm, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, I
yeah.
actually like those.
No, that was well done.
Those
Actually, I do
games, if
remember
you
that.
take a look at them, they look pretty good for today.
They're
like
solid.
they're
fun.
Like genuinely, graphically, they look really good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to say about the Switch 2 before we?
We spent over 2 hours talking about this. Just to go through it really quickly, we're talking about game pricing, and then we got thrown off by whatever the fuck we're talking about. I can't remember. So there's still confusion about whether retail prices are more than the digital prices. Because some retailers were making it $10 more than the digital prices, but that was like some like UK or like European sellers. So we don't know.
Is that a normal thing for?
That has
the
not
Wii?
been a thing at all.
Why,
period.
why would they even do that when no one else is doing it?
Again, because of today's landscape, the tariffs and shit, how much more it is to produce stuff physically. Maybe it's that point where it's like, hey, it technically costs us more money to release a game physically. Let's start charging more for it. It has to be that principle, because like, this is the first time it's basically been done. Unless like a physical release had some extra shit included with it compared to digital. Okay, that's a different story. He's got more value.
Well, the nice thing with the digital releases, and I don't think it's like a guaranteed thing, but because you're not worried about brick and mortar, you can have sales a lot more often. So I did feel like that was like
for digital compared to physical.
Yeah, like they
for Nintendo, I will say
that's what I'm saying.
no.
Maybe not Nintendo. That's where I'm like.
Actually, no. In general, I'd say no. In general, easier sales for the physical, for sure, easily.
No. I mean like.
Unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying.
Yeah. So like Cyberpunk 2077 will be on like sale, like $20 off, a lot more often and faster on a digital platform because you don't have to ship the game over. Like you don't have like, okay, we got 30 copies of this, but like genuinely, I felt like, because I used to complain about that too. It's like I'm buying a digital game for the same price. But if you actually play your cards right, like with CD keys even, like you can generally, like I can get Assassin's Creed right now for $20 cheaper. But but the physical, you will not find it for $20 cheaper right now.
I kind of agree, but I also disagree because there's a lot of games where, yeah, you're right with some of the examples you're pointing out, but I can think of some examples where, like, I just saw Persona 3 Reload on sale for us Canadians for $30 on the PS5 and Xbox retail. I don't think it's ever been that cheap digitally. So you still have some advantages in case-by-case scenarios where sometimes physical you will get better deals.
I'm not saying the price.
It's weird. No,
but
it's weird though.
The frequency of the sale itself.
Oh, frequency of the sale.
That's what I'm like. It's more so like when I was upset about that, I was like, but at least these games can like be on sale more, so maybe I'll wait. But
that's fair.
Maybe physical release, you'd be like, I gotta get it day one. I gotta pre-order it. Like it's not gonna be available. Some people were thinking was Modern Warfare 2 was a case where it was hard to find that game for a little bit back in the day. But if it was just digital, it'd be like, man, fucking.
Oh, it's easier to get digital, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you don't have the hassle of like, oh, I ordered it from pre-ordered from Amazon. But sometimes, hey, I hear stories about those games coming in like a week late. And it's like, oh, if I had a digital day one, I would have had it right away.
Yeah.
I don't know. The sales right now, it's still a sticky situation because there's some sales I can find for dirt cheap on retail that I don't see on digital. But then there's other games like you said where, oh no, I find these deals all the time. Fucking it's weird.
I guess what I'm saying,
it's uneven.
Like
no, I kind of get what you're saying.
The price difference doesn't matter as long as they give you some breaks. The digital buyers will get some breaks here and there. Whether it's that game will be cheaper for you a little quicker. or
Okay, a
more
little
accessible.
quicker. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, like
fine. That's
like let's
fair,
say
that's fair.
you don't buy, maybe Mario Kart's not a good example, but let's say
Any Nintendo first party, just leave out of the equation. Period. Just leave that out of
yeah,
the equation. Let's get
Assassin's Creed
real.
it's a good example for me because it's
Yeah.
100% cheaper digital now. And the stores will not give you a sale on that game for another 6 months, in my opinion. Maybe they will if there's like a summer sale.
Funny
or
enough,
something.
Star Wars Outlaw I think got on sale for almost half off like a month after the fact, like even retail.
Oh man!
But again, it's
Star
weird.
Wars
It's
Outlaws,
weird.
we're dying for people to buy
It's
that
a,
game.
but that's the thing.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. These retailers had so many copies they're not selling.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
know.
but that's an advantage for physical because like, hey, guess what? You have a lot of copies. We have the shit sitting on shelves. We gotta replace it with new inventory. We're gonna do a deeper discount than what you would find on digital, probably quicker. It's weird though.
That was the Boxing
It's a
Day
case.
thing, right?
It's a case by case
Yeah.
scenario because like if I look at any Sega published game, no, your argument doesn't make sense. Physical, you always get way better deals for Sega games.
That's interesting.
No, because they drop down in price like crazy. Sales almost instant. Persona 3 Reload, Metaphor, I saw a month after the fact for half off essentially for physical, which is pretty fucking good. Again, it's weird though. The sales are weird.
It's different. I guess
There's advantages.
How successful the game is because Baldur's Gate will
Sure.
never drop price. The cheapest it's ever been was $65.
But I also think that game sells way more digital than it does physical. I feel like physical, there's not as many units for that game.
that probably makes sense.
As opposed to like, let's say Assassin's Creed, for example. Different story. There's a lot of copies available physically for it. Because it's a big game.
But for Baldur's Gate, either way, it doesn't drop price because that game sells
so why should
like
they
crazy.
drop?
Exactly. Yeah. So
It's like, oh, you go on
that's
sale
the
for like
Nintendo
20
issue.
bucks off?
Yeah.
It's like people are like, ooh, I gotta buy this now.
Yeah. So
sure.
we still have to
By all
fight that.
means.
But like
For sure.
the minute I saw Outlaws reviews or Kingdom Come Deliverance, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm waiting for that game. Once it's $50, I'm buying that game. If it was one of my most anticipated physical
Actually,
games,
I think I just saw it sale for like $69.99.
it dropped pretty fast actually.
Just recently.
It was a bad release date for that game though. Like with
They still good. They did good on it though.
They did, but
no, for them
Avowed
they did very
Yeah.
well for them, which is good.
well, I
Because
think
again, that's a game where that's technically an indie game.
it's high budget, but the reason it's high budget
It's
is
high. Well, it's high budget, but not really high budget. It looks high budget, but it's not high budget from an actual budget point of
yeah.
view.
No, but I think the idea was that they didn't have to pay for labor too much because where was it? They were wherever they are. It's very
Is
cheap.
it Czech Republic that they're
Yeah.
from?
So
Or
they
is it actually Czech Republic? What's it fucking called? Now?
something like that. Something that's very cheap. Oh,
It's a Slavic country.
yeah.
I
Czech
know
Republic
that.
is a country right now.
It's some Slavic country.
But
yeah, it's true.
so they,
Actually, I didn't
so
even
they
think about the labor.
allocated their money. I think Baldur's Gate was similar, where it wasn't made in America.
Danish.
Yeah, so they saved some money on like labor and whatnot. But that is an interesting point that people are worried about that physical and digital might be the same price. It never
Or
crossed
not
them.
the same price.
Well, yeah, like they're afraid that there might be a price difference. But
Because now at this point, it's like, okay, let's say if you're a physical guy, I like buying my games physical for the most part. Other than this like generation right now, because now it's like going more all out digital.
Yeah.
PC had been very digital only for like a long time.
well, correct me if I'm wrong. PS4, or I would say more Xboxes, they took a lot of the gripe for this was when they announced like the keys, like you have to download every game. The disc was pretty much nothing. It would be a key.
Yeah, pretty much.
There was a price difference between digital and physical, or it was an early PS3 that there's a price difference. I thought there was a price difference at a certain point where you were saving like $10.
No.
Oh no, you were saving the tax. Do you remember that? You were saving the tax on the PlayStation Store.
Oh, you mean for us Canadians? It's just not the
Yeah.
reason-
Maybe that's what it
Yes.
was.
Okay, no,
So
it's-
like there was actually a reason for me to buy digital.
No, physical. No, actually had that applied.
What? No tax at all?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I remember they were
that-
saving some money.
No, that was also for physical as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But so it's gonna be interesting. Like, I think more than anything, I'm not even thinking about the longevity because if we learn anything from the Switch One, it just takes one spark of fire to like. It was when 2020 happened. That was really when the Switch was. I think PlayStation 4 was winning
But the Switch, no.
before 2020.
Well, no,
PS4 was killing it.
we'd have to
I don't. Yeah, we don't have to
look it up.
into
No,
now,
the
yeah.
Switch was like a huge seller almost right away, and it always, year by year up until 2020, was always making more and more.
Mm-hmm.
It just saw the biggest spike possible in 2020. It was a perfect situation. COVID, everyone was forced to stay home. Animal Crossing came out. That was a perfect game for people to play with each other. So like, oh, I'm stuck in home all day. oh, Animal Crossing just came out. I can play that with my family, my friends and stuff. It's a way for them to
Not to
connect.
mention the
It was a
PS4
perfect
issues,
storm.
the resale issues, or like the. Remember, like you couldn't find a PS4 when it came out, and people were buying like.
No, PS5 you're talking about.
Sorry, was that PS? Yeah, PS5 was 2020, right? Man,
PS5.
PS5
But
is
Switch around the
old.
same time
That's
too as
crazy.
well.
Yeah, but like you could find them, which was nice compared to a PS5.
Oh no, compared to PS5, so actually I shouldn't say what I did.
Oh, I mean, you know, all my friends did it too, but it was the.
I did pay for my PS5. The two guys I sold the PS5s to at a higher price than MSRP, I told them they were idiots and should not buy this. I'm charging you this much. If you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you for this price. And it was stupid. I told them, you're only going to play your FIFA and your Call of Duty, and that's the only games they played for the PS5 for a while. I told you could play that on your PS4. You are a dumbass for buying this off me at a way higher price. And you know what they said? Oh, I want to play Call of Duty and FIFA on the PS5. I want the PS5. I'm like, you don't need this. I did my best to convince these two specific people that I sold these PS5s at a marked up price for that they were dumbasses. Why are you doing this? This is stupid. I'd ridiculed them so they wouldn't buy the PS5s off of me. But they still did, so my hands are clean.
Hey, and those are the guys that
And I did it to pay for my PS5. I basically got my PS5 for free, so
Yeah.
I was very happy.
Well, those are the guys that are probably waiting for a Call of Duty announcement on the Switch too before they even consider buying it as well.
No, these are the same guys that are just like,
Or 2K, I guess.
no, these are the same guys that are just spending hundreds of dollars every week on stupid FIFA Ultimate Team shit.
Yeah. Did they announce all that stuff
They're not
for
humans
Switch
to
too?
me.
I assume that goes
Actually,
without saying.
no, for Switch 2, FIFA is going to be on there.
Nice.
Basically, all the actually Madden as well, all the sports
Yeah,
games.
that's
huge.
They need
That's
that.
actually no, that's big.
That's the first
That's
step
big.
of getting support. But
Once you get Call of Duty on there, like once that's confirmed on
Yeah.
Switch 2, okay, then you're really talking.
yeah,
I don't think those same people would get Switch 2, those people specifically, but I don't know. Maybe give it a few years. If they sell the PS4, maybe they get a Switch 2. I don't fucking know.
all right.
No, I'm curious to see.
That being said, like I said, it's an exciting time. Maybe the next episode, Microsoft will drop something and we'll have something to say about them.
I don't know if they will.
But
We'll see.
maybe they gotta announce the next Call of Duty or something, or maybe they'll say something about the
Actually,
Switch too.
Next Call of Duty usually doesn't get kind of leaked around until summertime, so we gotta wait a bit.
From my
They're usually pretty on schedule about
my
that stuff,
my
though.
experience, they do like NBA playoffs or finals
When is that?
commercial. Around what you're saying, like the playoffs
Yeah.
are starting soon. The finals
Because
will
usually
probably
right
be
around this time is when the leaks start coming out. It'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the next Call of Duty game. What's going to happen? Then by summertime, I guess by the time frame you're talking about, that's when they actually
Yeah.
announce a game, show a little bit.
I think
or
it's
show a decent amount.
pre the death of E3. So like we would have
Around the
we
same
would
time.
know that
Yeah.
things were coming at that time and stuff like that. But do you have anything else to say before we shut it off?
It's been over 2 hours. I think we said enough. The only other things, physical game preservation is going down the drain even more and more now. That's unfortunate. Sucks to hear. The whole game card situation for the Switch is kind of shitty. Some games aren't going to have the full game release on the Switch cards, which was a thing for some games, but it seems like it's going to be more prevalent. It's more of a sign of the times because the PS4, Xbox, or PS5, Xbox, they do the same shit anyways. So that's unfortunate. Virtual game card sharing is stupid.
I
Look
think
into
that's
that.
something they can backstep on.
They won't.
Eventually. They won't.
They won't.
Oh, we'll
They-
see.
they won't.
They're not Microsoft. Eh?
No, Nintendo, they don't need to do that. They're going to hear negative press. People are going to shout and cry about it. Then they're going to stop crying about it. And Nintendo's will be like, all right, good.
Yeah.
We're still going to do it. This is Nintendo. They usually don't back
And
up.
Animal Crossing will come out and everyone's gonna be happy.
Animal Crossing, when that comes out, expect that thing to sell a lot of units. And that's the point where you're going to be like, oh yeah, Switch 2 isn't a failure like I thought it was going to be.
We'll see. I hope I'm wrong because I'm always rooting for Nintendo.
Doesn't seem like it, but
No, I mean I'm just disappointed. I've been disappointed in what they've. Like I told you, I was a fan of the Wii U, and I felt like the Switch
Which is
was
hilarious.
a downgrade. Not graphically, but
oh, graphically, technically, it was a downgrade.
yeah, maybe it was. I don't know.
No,
But-
actually, it was.
So
funny
now I
enough.
feel like they're not trying. They're I don't know. I hope so. Again, it's hard for me to consider buying a console for that much if I know I'm playing 1 to 2 games a year. So these third-party games better come in clutch for Nintendo.
But they've always done first-party games the best. That's the main reason why most people buy a Nintendo console. That's why I get it, because I play the first-party shit. Because guess what? When it comes to first-party releases, they're usually the kings, baby.
Well, for me personally, Switch 1 has a great first party. It's still not enough for me to buy that game. Like,
which is wild to me to hear
Yeah.
because like you can get Switch One dirt cheap from before. Now you got to spend the money to buy those games, sure, because like they don't go on sale very often. Let's get real, but if I'm talking about first party output compared to Microsoft, Sony, they're still kings over them.
I'm not even comparing.
easily.
I guess maybe I'm just new to the Steam world, and like
Sure.
my mind is blown by that.
I've been used to that for like 2 decades.
Yeah,
now,
so maybe
pretty
that's what it is. So
much.
you're okay with the niche, like you're not looking for the biggest.
No, because I'm going to play
Library,
any of the biggest
yeah.
games and stuff. I'm going to play on my PC. I'm going to get a Nintendo console, play my first party Nintendo games because I know they're always going to be great.
Yeah, and did I mention I don't like third party 3D platformers? That's a killer for what's it called. And I also don't like the new-ish Zelda open world ones. I kind of like the Twilight Princess.
I mean, I understand, but like once you start playing Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, spend more than a few hours with them, you're like, oh no, this is good shit.
Hey, I'm a huge FromSoft fan,
they're
and I was
good,
complaining at the
good.
open world of Elden Ring. I was like, man, I missed the concise
no,
small
it's
world.
so
So
good.
like that's why
It's so
that Zelda
good.
world, it's amazing.
so good,
it's amazing,
bro.
but it's just a different vibe than Dark. Anyways, that's
That's
another.
a different
topic.
vibe. No,
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's fair.
Well, I think that's it for this episode.
You even asked me my overall thoughts about the Switch too.
I did. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say? Overall thoughts?
I just wanted to say the last 2 bullet points
Yeah,
out
go
here.
ahead.
It wasn't the absolute best showing of the Switch 2. I'll say that. It'll seem like I'm way more positive about the Switch 2 compared to the Son. I just think he's extremely negative, whereas me, I'm more like mild-tempered about it. I think there's some good things about it. I think there's a lot of disappointing things about it, which I thought I went into detail about. I wish I saw way more first-party stuff that they were announcing for this. I was expecting more, especially release dates. Where the fuck is my Metro Prime 4 fucking release date? One of the best things, though, we did forget to mention, Hollow Knight 2025, supposedly.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
It's not coming
see
out.
about that.
It's not coming out 2025. Fuck off. It's never
Maybe it'll
coming
be
out.
the one game to come out the same day as Grand Theft Auto, and it might make some money. It might be the only game that can be successful that day.
Imagine if Shadow drops same day as GTA 6. That would be the dumbest thing ever.
It still blows
I
my
would
mind
love
that people used
would
to
love
release
that.
games like the same day as Call of Duty, the same day. Like thinking, what are you thinking? Like
That was in the earlier days, though,
Yeah.
when you thought, okay, we still have our market. Now it's like, no, you can't do that. You
Yeah.
can't afford to do that. You'll get fucked.
I don't even think it's a good
Absolutely.
idea for Microsoft to release 2 games on the same day nowadays.
They shouldn't.
yeah.
It's dumb. Space it out. Be smart about it. Why do that?
I mean, last year they did space it out, I guess. But
This year, I don't think they're spacing out as well. South of Midnight just came out, and then in a couple of weeks, you have Clair Obscure coming out. Actually, no, that's also coming out on other platforms. Never mind. But it's the Game Pass.
But I will say, from Stalker to Avowed,
Stalker too.
they released, or from Stalker to Atomfall. I mean, that's not Microsoft, but they released. That's a big window for.
For Game Pass games, yeah.
That's a very
it's
big, a very good window. Yeah.
No, that's true. That's
So
totally
they've
fair
been
to
doing
say.
really good. By the way, did you see last thing? Did you see Atomfall came out on the Xbox One?
Was it Xbox One, really?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. Like, I wonder why. Anyways, but
Hey, if it runs well enough on it, if you get more units sold for people that don't have the Series X or whatever,
But
whatever.
what was their idea? Like, someone on Xbox One was going to buy that game that has only
Again,
an Xbox One.
Hey, there's still people like that out there.
They're not buying full price games.
I know
I'll tell
someone
you
that plays the latest Call of Duties on like the Xbox One still. So
Yeah. That's a good Call of Duty machine, to be honest with you. Same with the PS4. Like, if that's all you do and you don't care about graphics, don't spend $400, $500 on.
that's what I say to people all the time. Just don't do it.
Yeah, PS4 is great actually. It's so good, or that generation's so good. We've kind of been stuck on it for a
It's a good
couple of
generation.
generations.
It's not my favorite generation, but that's always a topic for the future.
I'm not saying it's the best, but like graphically and technically, I feel like we've been in that generation.
It'll never be the PS2 though.
I think PS3 was like, man, that jump. I loved it. But
You want a wild take? I think the PS3 might be my least favorite Sony generation.
it's a lot of people's least favorite. But I
Really? I feel like the opposite, man. Honestly.
Sony?
I feel like a lot of people. You just gotta think about it. You had like Bioshocks, all the best Call of Duties at that point. That was all part of that gen.
You're talking about just
I'm not-
games in general?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if we're talking
like, just what to play.
No, if we're talking exclusives, if people say, yeah, I don't understand that. If we're
Yeah.
talking exclusives, no, PS1, PS2, kings, you can't compete.
Yeah, even PS4. Yeah,
No,
it's
not
up
even-
there.
not even
No, I mean
close.
compared to the PS3. Even PS4 had like.
No, no, PS3 is still better.
Actually, yeah. I guess they went a lot more.
I think PS3.
I mean,
Actually, you know what?
Bloodborne. I don't know.
That's like.
I mean, you know what?
That's only one.
But PS4 started so good, it's crazy. Like they started with, I don't know, that was a crazy with Metal Gear Solid 5. You know, that's a not on it was on everything.
That was literally on everything. Even
But
on PS3.
but just like thinking about the games
I don't know
that
if it
came
started
out,
off that great.
Uncharted 4.
You had Killzone Shadowfalls as a launch.
No, I'm not
title.
saying like on launch. Launch.
Some people like that game. That game's shit.
Sony-
Don't get me started.
I think Sony's known as a very bad. Like they never release good games on launch for the most part. They've never released like a Halo combat involved game on launch.
PS2 was the best example. And that was about it.
What was it? But it wasn't anything big like
MGS2.
Oh, was it really? Oh, never mind. That's crazy.
You know what? Before we get up, I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at this.
You could be right.
Oh no, I'm definitely right.
Yeah.
Launch year PS.
Hey, but no one liked that game, right?
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm just kidding.
Sorry, we're making this way longer.
No, it's okay.
Because I just came up. Actually, well, MGS2 wasn't a launch.
Same year at least.
It was a first year release.
That's still pretty good.
Which is all that matters. You had that, Silent Hill 2, GTA 3. You fucking kidding me? Just sold Devil May Cry 1 as well? I don't know. That's pretty good for a launch here. Those are some legendary games right there, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I guess
Time Splitters is also a launch title too.
That's a good way of ending this podcast. Is that Microsoft had Halo Combat Evolved as their launch year. PlayStation had MGS2. What will the Switch 2 have? I guess we'll see.
Donkey Kong Bonanza, baby.
Maybe it is.
And that might be the best game ever made. Who the fuck knows? We'll see.
With that said, that's the episode. That's the day, and see you guys next time.